as a Republican for the upcoming election. Former Pentagon operative Tony Shaffer has told Today questions are being raised about the Secret Service's preparation for the rally.
Clearly, the security measures were not sufficient. No one leaves unsecure high ground within 150 meters of the president. It was 5.56 AR-type rifles. It was closer than I thought, but there's no way a weapon that can be used to literally blow people's heads off should be anywhere near any crowd.
The construction union will hold an emergency meeting this morning as it faces pressure to clean up its act. An investigation by 60 Minutes has revealed underworld figures have been acting as CFMEU delegates, receiving thousands of dollars working on state and federal projects. Business groups are urging the federal government to establish a royal commission into the matter. Former Detective Inspector Ken Ashworth has led an investigation into organised crime for state and federal police. He's told 60 Minutes not enough is being done to stop corruption in the organisation.
It's rotten to the core. You've got standover going on, extortion going on, contracts being awarded that shouldn't be awarded, honest people being pushed out of the industry. It's a terrible state of affairs, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Union boss John Setka resigned from the position on Friday before the report was released. We're set to fork out hundreds more for gas following rate hikes next month. Major energy companies are advising households of price rises of up to 12%, more than $200 annually. Small businesses face average increases of almost $700 a year. Medical experts want better guidelines for infant formula and toddler drinks. The Australian Medical Association has made recommendations to the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, saying Australia needs marketing codes of practice for breast milk substitutes. And now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And good morning, Corey Norris.
Thank you, Graham. Good morning. Spain and England are locked in a 1-1 draw in the second half of the Euro final in Berlin. The Spaniards open their account just after half-time. It could be a double celebration in Spain after their young tennis hero Carlos Alcaraz dominated Novak Djokovic in straight sets to claim back-to-back Wimbledon titles. The 21-year-old becomes the youngest man to win Wimbledon and the French Open in the same year. It's Alcaraz's fourth major title, but he says he has much more to achieve.
I'm not considering myself a champion yet, but I'm trying to keep going, to keep building my path, my journey, but yeah, it's a huge honour for me.
Back here, Port Adelaide has limped home from its 14-point loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. Forward Todd Marshall will have scans on a hip injury thanks to friendly fire from Charlie Dixon. The Power also lost Lachie Jones to concussion after a collision with the Suns' Alex Davies. The loss means the Power has slipped out of the top 8 with their finals hopes on the brink. In the final games of round 18, Brisbane defeated West Coast by 13 points at Optus Stadium, and the Giants made light work of Richmond at the MCG. And Aussie golfer Adam Scott has fallen just short of the Scottish Open, finishing second to Robert McIntyre by 1 shot. And that's FIVEAA Sport.
And now the FIVEAA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower at 2 and 13 today. Tomorrow a shower at 2, 14. Wednesday a shower at 2, 15. And Thursday a possible shower, 14. Currently it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
David and Will invite you into the studio every morning with FIVEAA's live video stream of The Breakfast Show. Thanks to Foodland. With more stores close to home and everyday low prices, great food lives at Foodland, the mighty South Aussies.
Are you eagerly awaiting a relocation sale to stock up on four-wheel drive and camping gear? Great news! TJM Clovelly Park have just opened their doors at their new address, 115 Sheriffs Road, Ranella. They're still clearing out heaps of ex-display stock and everything must go. Get in quick and give the crew at TJM Nailsworth a call to find out what's up for grabs at both locations during their relocation sale on now.
Electricity bill!
Bills shouldn't be scary. EcoVantage have supplied energy efficiency in homes for over 15 years. They can install hot water systems that use up to 80% less electricity than regular hot water systems. Help the environment while you save hundreds. And thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you could get your energy efficient hot water system supplied and installed for as little as no cost to you. Stop scary hot water bills with ecovantage.com.au.
Oh, you know, would it be great to have in an Austrac camper? A wireless phone charger. Just a sec. Yeah, mate. What's that? Austrac campers already have wireless phone chargers? Oh, yeah. No, I'll tell them.
Austrac! Austrac! Austrac campus!
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's free open home events across Adelaide from the 23rd to the 25th of July to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could enjoy. Come along with family and friends to explore all our communities have to offer. You can inspect our display homes, discover our social activities, meet some of the residents and chat with our friendly team. Take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Home to RSVP today.
2025 river cruises are now on sale with Armour Waterways and Phil Hoffman Travel. Sail through timeless Europe, the vibrant Mekong River or magical Colombia. Your Armour Waterways river cruise will leave you with memories to last a lifetime with personalised service, award-winning dining and exclusive excursions, all included in your fare. Reserve your river cruise before the 31st of July to save up to $1,700 per person. Visit pht.com.au.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
8 minutes after 6. Good morning to you this Monday. It's been a really foggy few days, but thankfully coming into work this morning. Hopefully if you're out driving out and about, it's not too dangerous for your run-in. Yesterday, driving into the newsroom, Will, I couldn't see 50 metres ahead of me. It was frighteningly foggy. But yesterday, well, let's start with it. You and I both, incredibly, were actually in this building when one of the biggest stories in the world broke. It's one of those things we always joke about. When someone's not here, the biggest news in the world happens. And once again, yes, it did. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Luce. I suspect a lot of people are going to want to talk about this morning. It's the first opportunity for people in Adelaide to wake up now with all the detail to talk about what we now know was an assassination attempt against former US President Donald Trump, who's the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. Their convention's this week to make that official. Be interested to see how that progresses now. There was some suggestion of delaying it. He said he doesn't want that. He's been incredibly defiant. It was an incredible day yesterday, one of the most remarkable days in modern US political history, in Western modern political history, whilst the US is... it's not the very first time there's been an assassination attempt. I mean, you have to go back a fair way now. Reagan in 81. Some people will point to George Bush in Georgia overseas a few years ago. I think that's in a different camp. You've got Gerald Ford in 1975 before that, and then perhaps most famously, most infamously, JFK. But you can go back before that, Abraham Lincoln and so forth. So it's not new territory for the US. It's new territory for us in the 21st century. I felt it was a really sad day yesterday. It was a sad day for democracy because I think people had warned periodically that the debate was getting too heated, the language was getting over the top. You don't have to scroll 3 posts on social media without your political opponent du jour being mocked up with a Hitler moustache. The language around both Joe Biden and Donald Trump is, can you trust these people with democracy? And unfortunately, whilst sometimes it's playful banter or it's a political spin, there are people out there that aren't mentally equipped to deal with it. And it triggers them in ways that are dangerous, and it triggers them in ways that manifest in what we saw in Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday. Again, the thing that differentiates the United States to the rest of the Western world is we've all got our nutters. Over there, their nutters can get their hands on assault rifles. And that's what we understand now as the weapon that was being used here by Thomas Crooks, the 20-year-old who's was shot and killed shortly after he fired that first volley of shots. He got it from his father. It was just readily available. It was at their house. I just felt it was a sad day. I like to think, and maybe I'm a misty-eyed optimist, Luce, but I like to think our democracy is robust enough where differences of opinion are resolved at the ballot box, not at the barrel of a gun. And it felt like yesterday that felt weirdly optimistic all of a sudden yesterday. I'm really interested in what our listeners think of this. 8223 You can text us on the Duttons text line as well, 0448 08 1395. It ended to this silly period we've had where one side or another, depending on which country you're in, feels like it's got a mortgage on good behaviour and their opponents are all the violent yahoos. Doesn't matter who you are. Your side has demented weirdos on it, whatever you believe. There are people that are just ill-equipped to have public debate, difference of opinion, and agree to disagree. And this is the most dramatic and violent manifestation of it. And whilst Donald Trump survived, and we're grateful for that, you know, there's a guy there, Corey Comparatore, 50-year-old guy who turned up to a convention, you know, just an expression of democratic free will, who got killed. Got killed jumping on his family, according to his wife, protecting him as the bullets flew in. It was an incredibly heroic final act for him. There's 2 other people that are critically injured in hospital. So whilst Donald Trump survived, this wasn't an incident without fatality, at least one, potentially more.
Sorry, Will, note watching Sky News here, the US Secret Service is due to give a press conference. The little blue box on the corner of the TV screen is there, so no doubt they'll tell us more shortly. Later in the show, we're going to replay a chat that I managed to grab yesterday with Jacob Rosen, who's a political journo for CBS News. He's been on the campaign trail for some months, and he even said that he covers the Trump rallies, he follows the Trump party, and they are always safe. Yes, you get, as you say, the weirdos and whoever his supporters may be, but he's never felt unsafe at a Trump rally. Never. Maybe
that goes to a degree of the complacency that exists. I think the Secret Service press conference to which you allude, Luce, is going to be really fascinating, because how in the hell can it be? Like Butler, Pennsylvania, I don't know if you've seen aerial shots. It looks like there's about 5 significant structures there. It's not exactly Manhattan.
No, I Googled Butler, Pennsylvania, and it, you know, in the Google pre-type questions, what is Butler, Pennsylvania known for? And it said small and local family business.
Yeah, very small business. So there's a question for the Secret Service. How in the hell was someone with a weapon of that caliber, a rifle of that power, able to get on a rooftop 130 metres away, 150 feet away from a presidential candidate? That's an incredible lapse of judgment. That said, how about the people? I thought this yesterday. You turn up to work on any given day and you sort of hope you do your job, and you hope you have a good day and everything goes well and without incident. The Secret Service people that gathered around Trump yesterday, what a moment, what a thing. There are literally bullets flying, and your job is you go and stand and be a human body shield for the person that they're firing at.
I had the exact same thought. The woman who you can see at the front, she's got her hair in her bun, you can see the earpiece and stuff. She wouldn't have had a second to think, oh God, I might die here. No. She just got up and stood in front of Donald Trump on stage, in front of the lectern thing. You're right. That's a day on the job. Their whole lives, they've trained for this, their whole professional lives, I suppose. And yesterday was the day they had to spring into action without warning. It's
just an extraordinary thing to have to think that might be something you're called in to do when you clock on for work that morning. Let's go to Balaclava. Laurie, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, thank you, Laurie.
Good. Now, obviously, the circumstances of yesterday were all over the news. But one thing that's not been put on the news, within minutes of Trump arriving at the hospital, they organised a GoFundMe for the 2 critically wounded victims and also the family of the now undead person. And they've already raised over $2 million for those families.
Have they really?
In order to make sure those people are okay and their families are okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very valid point. Thanks, Laurie, for bringing that to our attention. I've just pulled it up here. Yes, as of an hour ago, that GoFundMe for the victims has raised more than $2 million. Huge shock as well when you find out that people are dying, and the way they died is really sad out of this. Anyway, here in Australia, I find it really tough to comprehend because our gun laws are so different, and when we see our politicians around the country, we just know that it's all going to be fine. We just know that.
Yeah, lots of texts coming through. Wally the Walnut says that my opinion is the Secret Service were in on it. Only in America. Yeah, conspiracy theory central, and this is what social media does best now, isn't it? I don't know. I actually think it's the kind of, whilst it was a remarkable moment in modern US political history, it was an unremarkable moment in the long history of US politics. And we talk about the gun environment. I don't know. Everyone will look to I got stopped by so many people yesterday who said, this is all a setup. Yeah. I don't know. I tend to, I watched it on TV. I tend to believe it was all legitimate, unfortunately. I mean, it would be, there was a great piece that was done. I can't think who it was. There was a great period of what was the hoax? I can't remember what it was. It was a bit of satire that was done that says that it's easier to believe that something's a setup or a hoax, or because it suggests that there was some greater power and control. Suggests that someone it was part of someone's overarching plan. It's way scarier when it's just some random loon who does something. And it's just a sort of
that's fearful.
That's right. It's nice to believe conspiracy theories. I just don't believe it in this case. Robert says the security weren't very good, human shields, and most of them are only half his size. A second shooter would have still had a clear shot. Well, it was the most remarkably defiant moment, and that's what we got news. If you pick up every newspaper in Australia this morning, I suspect every newspaper on planet Earth just about, where there's a free press, that one of the most iconic images in photographs ever taken, Donald Trump with the blood splattered on the side of his face, the US flag upside down in the top corner of the picture, almost as though it was sort of this post-apocalyptic image of...
it's a bit eerie.
It was, wasn't it?
On the Australian this morning, I looked at it.
It almost looks like AI, doesn't it?
I thought we should frame this.
Yeah.
This is remarkable.
It looks like it was generated by AI. If you slept through the entire weekend and woke up this morning to that, you'd think, what? Someone's got control of all the front pages. But that moment was made possible because of Trump's defiance, because him raising his fist, saying fight. Now, to Rob's point, the last thing that the Secret Service people wanted him to do, I think, was in that moment make a political statement. But that bloke, his brain never stops. It never stops. He literally, now we can say he literally never misses an opportunity to make political capital, because it was a remarkable moment for his supporters. We always talk about in US politics about the most powerful thing you can do is get your supporters out to vote. Forget trying to convince the other side, and you can try and convince the middle. That helps a little bit too. But the most important thing you do is motivate your people to come out, because you've got to do it. You've got to stand in long lines. You've got to go. If you're in northern state, you're going to stand in minus 15-degree temperatures and line up for a few hours. If you don't really think your candidate is someone worth that investment of your time and well-being, you're not going to do it. Every single person in the US that thinks Donald Trump should be the next president needs no more motivation to get out and vote. I mean, it feels trite afterwards talking about his election chances. It's still very much in the aftermath of this event, but that picture, they're already using it to raise money for the campaign. It's one of the greatest pictures in the history of politics.
8223 0000. Your thoughts this morning, folks. We'd love to chat with you. It is 20 minutes after 6.
Every South Australian deserves a place to call home. That's why the state government has developed the Housing Roadmap, providing more rights for renters, helping more first home buyers by abolishing stamp duty on new homes and building more public and affordable houses. We're making big moves now to open more doors for this generation and the next. To learn more, visit housingroadmap.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
It's our first Christmas in July at Wayville Hyundai, and we're inviting you to join us by popping a gift under our Christmas tree for Kickstart for Kids. Together, we can help. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai, opposite the showground.
Electric vehicles are incredible, so if you own one or you're thinking of buying one, it's definitely a great move. What's not so great, though, is running out of charge or driving around town or the burbs praying you can find a charge station that's not already in use before you run out of juice.
And that's why it's best to get in touch with BC EV Chargers, fully qualified electricians. BC EV Chargers specialise in all makes of electric vehicle charging systems, and because no two systems are the same, they're happy to discuss the best system for your situation. In fact, they're certified experts in the field of electric vehicle charging, working with big brands like RAA and ChargeFox.
So if you drive an electric vehicle, the message is simple. Charge at home and you're free to roam with BC EV Chargers. Visit bcevchargers.com.au.
Hi, it's Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Big news! Adelaide's property market has broken new ground, with median house prices breaching the 900,000 mark for the first time. This surge reaffirms the ever-growing potential in our local property market. If selling is on your mind and maximising return is your aim, the team at Toop and Toop Real Estate is here to help. With a proven track record of obtaining exceptional sale prices, make the perfect choice with Toop and Toop. Learn more at toop.com.au.
We open our doors to people we trust and care about. And for over 85 years, South Australians have been opening their doors to Rest Haven. In turn, we've been opening doors to an easier, better life at home. From personal care to help with the shopping and social outings, you'll welcome the care that Rest Haven brings.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
22 minutes after 6, David Penberthy will return next week. But for now, here's some news headlines of other news this morning. Yes, the rest of the country still ticks on. We're going to delve a bit deeper into this a bit later, Will, but there are now calls for a royal commission into alleged criminal behaviour inside the construction union. An investigation by SMH, The Age and 60 Minutes last night claims bikies and criminals acting as CFMEU delegates have received hundreds of thousands of dollars working on federal and state government-funded projects. The union is set to hold an emergency meeting early this morning. John Setka will play a little bit later. He resigned on Friday ahead of 60 Minutes release last night.
He vaguely referenced, allegations against the union, and then was asked specifically, what allegations are you talking about? He said, just, any allegations that might pop up. Well, they popped up. They were pretty dramatic. Tony Burke, the Federal Minister for Employment Workplace Relations, has been on the record over the course of the weekend saying he's sought advice about what powers he has to crack down on this union. I think we're going to hear from the CFMEU today, is my understanding as well. So we'll get some of their insight into this. Obviously, in the absence now of John Setka, what does the government do? Can they crack down on the union? Is it as dramatic as the union gets broken up? The allegations couldn't be more significant, but we will be talking more about that a little bit later today. I do note, on an Adelaide point of view, Tom Koutsantonis, the Transport and Infrastructure Minister, last night said there's no bikie gangs or such working on major infrastructure projects in South Australia, which is obviously of concern given what the allegations were on 60 Minutes last night.
5 teenagers have been arrested in Port Adelaide with the assistance of police dog Jax. Just before 5 o'clock, police were called to a business on Francis Street after reports that people had been seen entering the property. 5 youths were all charged with being unlawfully on premises. They'll all appear in the youth court in September. Here are their ages: a 17-year-old girl from Beverley, 15-year-old boy from Gilman, 16-year-old boy from Angle Park, 15-year-old boy from Woodville Gardens and a 15-year-old boy from Glanville. Charged with serious criminal trespass, I reckon. And Japan remains one of the most popular destinations for Australians. The number of tourists visiting the country has surged by 143% in the year to May. Indonesia and Bali, though, still the number one place of choice to visit, as you are well aware, Will. Is that why you picked Bali? You thought you'd follow the crowd and be a sheep and go to Bali?
If you draw a circle around Australia during winter and say, where do you want to go that's warm, that you could reasonably take an 18-month-old on a plane that's not going to cause you to lose your sanity, Bali quickly starts looking like a really good option.
Yeah, the only time I went to Bali was for exactly, not because I had a child to take with me, but we wanted a hot holiday that was not going to cost as much as Queensland, and Bali was the option.
It is staggeringly cheap. Just Australian tourism can't compete for Australian domestic tourist dollars because your money just goes so much further.
Weather today, not as foggy as I said this morning. Yesterday was awful, but still a cool start to the day. Currently 8 degrees, feels like 6.3, going for a top of 13. Says we're in for a shower or two, up to 2 mils. We'll see if we do get that. Tomorrow 13, Wednesday 14, Thursday 14. By the end of Sunday, we're not getting above 14, so a much cooler week this week. Reminder, of course, you can text us this morning, 0448 08 13 95 on the Duttons text line. All new Triton in stock for immediate delivery with great driveway deals at Duttons Mitsubishi Murray Bridge. Now, Tom Wren is away this week, so for our sports update, we will do that thanks to Agostino Mitsubishi. Experience the 2024 new gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi. Now, we'll get to the Wimbledon men's final in a moment because the Euro's currently on.
Yeah, well, they were on, then on no longer.
Oh, it's just finished.
And if you don't want a spoiler, you were taping it to listen to later today. As I always say, listen away now. Spain are the European champions. Football is not coming home to England, unfortunately. Spain run out 2-1 winners, become the national team with the most European titles ever now. It was same old story for England. They trailed. Nico Williams scored for Spain in the 47th minute. They trailed 1-0. There was, Much consternation amongst England fans about Gareth Southgate's reticence to make early subs. Harry Kane was actually, in fact, subbed off in the 61st minute, so maybe he heard that criticism. Cole Palmer scored to equalise in the 73rd minute, and then in the 86th, Spain's winner came. There was still late drama even after that. A clearance off the line from an English corner would have seen things squared away, but in the end, it's Spain 2-1. They are European champions. English heartbreak, albeit they've made the final, which is a terrific achievement. But it'll be fascinating to see how English fans digest a tournament in which they feel like they've played terribly the entire time, yet made the final, and ultimately they miss out on winning the European Championship on the strength of an 86-minute winner to Spain. So a lot to work out.
British fans, if you'd like to call us this morning and share your dismay.
Oh, yeah.
Feel free, 8223 0000. It's a safe space here. We'd love to hear from you. Great day, great overnight, I should say, for Spain. Carlos Alcaraz is the Wimbledon gentleman's champion, I should say. He did beat Novak Djokovic in 3 sets. Pretty easy game there for Carlos Alcaraz in the first 2 sets. 6-2, 6-2, and then 7-6. He won that third 7-4 in the tiebreak, so still a confident tiebreak win. Now, Carlos Alcaraz only 21. It's his 4th Grand Slam. 4th major title, just 21 years of age. He's now back-to-back Wimbledon champ. Novak Djokovic is a 24-time Grand Slam winner. I don't think many thought this would be his 25th.
So he's won 20. I'm just trying to think. Is Alcaraz on the
trajectory?
Yeah, the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic trajectory. 4 by 21.
I reckon.
Geez, 24 is a lot when you think of it that way, isn't it?
Djokovic is 37.
So to equal Djokovic from this point on, so it's basically winning 2 Grand Slam titles a year for the next decade. That's
the way he's going. I think he could do it. That's without injury. Novak Djokovic, I'll note, had knee surgery only a month ago, so still obviously an impressive effort to make it to the Grand Slam final after knee surgery. But Carlos Alcaraz. Great day for Spain. Alcaraz, just the 6th man in the Open era to make the successful transition from Paris to London. So he won Roland Garros and now has won the Wimbledon. Rod Laver did that. Bjorn Borg, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic, of course. Bad luck for the Aussies. Well, you may not have caught up with this yesterday, but Max Purcell and Jordan Thompson were Aussies in the men's doubles final. They had 3 championship points.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Lost them all, and then they lost the final. They were runners-up to a pair of Brits.
Tennis is uniquely cruel as a sport because rarely are you in a position in sport. It does happen from time to time, but tennis, it routinely happens where you can close your eyes at the end of a heartbreaking 5-set loss and think there was a moment when I was an hour earlier when I was an inch away from winning. You could replay a 1 point in your head for the rest of your career. Sounds like they could replay 3 points in their head for the rest of their career.
Jordan Thompson's quote yesterday was, "It sucks." Yeah. Honestly, it just sucks.
Master of understatement, Jordan Thompson.
Yes, he'd be beating himself up, no doubt. 8223 0000 if you'd like to talk about, well, you're a British Euro fan and you've just lost. Commiserations to you. We'd love to hear from you. But also thoughts on the Trump attempted assassination yesterday.
Yeah, we'll take some calls after the break. Should mention too, Luce called it here on 5AA yesterday. Gold Coast run out 14 points winners against Port Adelaide. Speaking of what Jordan Thompson might describe as sucks. A lot of feedback post-game yesterday. Port fans fed up. They're now out of the 8 through 17 rounds. Yesterday, the 14-point margin ultimately flattered Port Adelaide. The Gold Coast were the better side all day long. Squandered a few opportunities at the start of the fourth quarter that would have probably seen them run out comfortable 4 or 5 goal winners, which on the strength of what we all called and saw yesterday, Timmy G and Campo, would have felt like a reasonable result. So a week of soul-searching ahead for Port Adelaide.
We'll chat about that more with Rowie after 7 o'clock in the morning. Up next, though, the 6:30 news.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Shower at 2 and 13 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Donald Trump remains steadfast in his plans to continue his presidential campaign. In a statement, former US President says he looks forward to speaking with his followers at this week's Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Experts are questioning whether Mr. Trump will now streak ahead in the polls in the wake of an assassination attempt on his life. US political expert Professor John Kane from Griffith University drawing similarities to the attempt on President Ronald Reagan's life.
Absolutely. In a way, that's what happened with Reagan. Reagan was nearly did die, but he was propped himself up in a hospital bed and showed, smile to the world, and his numbers went up dramatically.
The President is urging the country to stand united against violence in the wake of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Joe Biden says the Secret Service is reviewing security at the Republican convention in Milwaukee, where the former president is headed. President Biden has held a meeting with authorities, including the FBI, as it works to establish a motive for the gunman. He maintains the attempt to take Mr. Trump's life needs to be condemned and the nation must unite.
Unity is the most elusive goal of all, but nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change, but we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans.
Diabetes Australia wants the federal government to increase subsidies for technology helping monitor diabetes patients. Some patients living with type 1 diabetes are unable to access glucose monitoring devices and insulin pumps because they are too expensive. Chief Executive Justine Kane says a $200 million investment over 4 years would aid those struggling with the cost of living.
If you don't keep your blood glucose levels in range, it can lead to hospitalisations and ambulance call-outs. It can lead to longer-term complications such as blindness, stroke, heart attack, amputations.
A group of psychologists is joining calls to raise the minimum age of social media use to 16. Research from Macquarie University is linking increased rates of anxiety with fear of missing out and frequent use of apps like TikTok and Instagram. Medical experts want better guidelines for infant formula and toddler drinks. The Australian Medical Association has made recommendations to the Australia Competition and Consumer Commission, saying Australia needs marketing codes of practice for breast milk substitutes. President Professor Steve Robson says they want the code to mirror that of the World Health Organization.
The World Health Organization code has guidelines that protect children out to 3 years old, and we know how important it is because what children want to eat and drink is set very early in life.
Actress Shannon Doherty has died at the age of 53 after a 9-year battle with breast cancer. The actress starred on the popular series Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Graham. It's party time in Spain. Crowned the champions of Europe with a stunning 2-1 win over England in the Euro final in Berlin.
Cucurella! 2-1 Spain! Oyarzabal! Prompt, neat, telling! Spain, champions of Europe yet again!
That audio thanks to Optus Sport. It comes after their young tennis star Carlos Alcaraz successfully defended his Wimbledon singles title. Jordan Tunbridge was courtside.
Dropping his racket and throwing his arms in the air, Carlos Alcaraz celebrates successfully defending his Wimbledon singles title. The third seed from Spain once again defeating second seed Novak Djokovic in the gentlemen's final to claim his 4th Grand Slam. Alcaraz dominated from the outset, breaking Djokovic's serve in the opening game of the match and winning in straight sets 6-2, 6-2, 7-6. He put his opponent under relentless pressure throughout, pushing him deep behind the baseline with heavy topspin, then bringing him into the net with delicate drop shots. A comprehensive victory for the best young player in the world over one of the greatest to step foot on a tennis court.
Back home, Port Adelaide forward Todd Marshall will be sent for scans today after suffering a hip injury in yesterday's 14-point loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. The loss means the Power has slipped out of the top 8 with their finals hopes on the brink. Brisbane star Charlie Cameron is set to come under MRO scrutiny after a tackle that left Eagles co-captain Liam Duggan with concussion. The Lions defeated West Coast by 13 points at Optus Stadium. And Aussie golfer Adam Scott has fallen just short of the Scottish Open, finishing second to Robert McIntyre by 1 shot. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or 2 and 13 today. Tomorrow a shower or 2, 14. Wednesday a shower or 2, 15. Then Thursday a possible shower, 14. Currently it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
The US Secret Service has just spoken. Joe Biden is giving another press conference as well. He's given his second one, I should say. We'll get to those in a moment, and we'd love to take your calls on Donald Trump, 8223 0000. Just very briefly, before we get to Trump, this has only just come out. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, different topic, welcoming King Charles III and Queen Camilla to Australia in October this year.
There was plenty of rumours that the King's health permitting, there was a royal visit was on the cards. This would be huge. So first time he's visited, obviously, since he's become the king. 15 official visits to the country over the course of his lifetime. The 16th will be as the king, October this year. But it's unless you've heard something, Luce, from what I can tell to this point in time, we don't know anything about an itinerary.
No,
where he'll be going.
Only going to the ACT in New South Wales.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Anything beyond that, I'm not sure. So we can get us excited for it from afar.
From afar. Well, so that'll be happening in October of this year. Other thing we should mention, Rob on the Dutton's text line says valet Richard Simmons, the 80s fitness guru who died over the weekend, and Shannon Doherty too, the actress famous for Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed in recent years, taken too soon. Richard Simmons too, by today's standards, 76 years of age, was taken too soon. Shannon Doherty just in her 50s too, but had a long battle with breast cancer that came back. So it's a couple of very sad stories over the weekend. Lots of people, though, Luce, want to have their say on the assassination attempt against Donald Trump yesterday.
Tony in Seaton, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. I actually got up yesterday morning. I was watching that live. I was live streaming that, and when he got shot, and it was only for a split second when he turned his head to the monitor because he wanted to show the crowd some stats. He turned his head sideways and made himself a less of a target, and 2 centimetres to the left, it would have been dead.
Mm.
So, and the other 3 or 4 things that I find very strange. There's no bulletproof glass around there like that, see-through glass that it should be around him so no one can shoot a bullet. None of that.
Yeah, well, the Pope-style protection that exists. Yeah, they don't. Where you're not really in the open air speaking. US presidential candidates certainly of late have sort of shunned that kind of thing. Even visible bulletproof vests. Now, I read that he now wears one based on intelligence, but he had to be advised because they don't want to look like they're afraid to go out and stand amongst your supporters. You know, it's not sending a great message. Before this, easy to say until you've been shot at, and Donald Trump's a human being like the rest of us. You'd be a little bit more wary next time you step on the stage. Maybe there'll be more security. But Tony's right. It was a slight head turn. That is the reason he's alive. There's that photograph. One of the Australian papers, I think the Courier Mail went with it this morning, is the freeze frame where you can see the bullet travelling through the air.
Terrifying, isn't it?
It's next to his head. It's unbelievable. Let's go to Victor Harbour. Carlos, good morning.
Morning, guys. I'd just like to say that if you're going to be voting in that election, you've got to look at your choices. You've got one guy who, you know, they try to kill and has the audacity to stand up and fist pump and get the crowd revved up, and the other guy needs to be walked off a stage and needs to be in bed by 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know who I'd vote for.
Well, yeah, it was already a pretty powerful indication of capability that we saw at the debate. It's only been heightened now. I know that's what a lot of people have. Some people have said the motivation for some sort of fix would be, well, it would help him win the election. He was winning the election anyway. Yesterday didn't affect that. Donald Trump wasn't losing the November election to Joe Biden. Maybe it was someone else that might be different. I'm not convinced. None of the polling suggests it would be, but it was the imagery is powerful beyond the photograph for his re-election campaign. There is news still coming in on this front. We'll continue to cover it as it breaks over the course of the morning because it's late afternoon going to the evening and the East Coast and the United States loose, and we have heard from some of the key players in the aftermath already.
Yes, here is the Secret Service, who, no names to them, of course, but here is one of the members of the Secret Service who spoke about 5 minutes ago.
This is an NSSE, a National Special Security Event. It is the highest designation that you can get for a security event of its size and magnitude in the United States. We have that designation and we'll continue to work to make sure that public safety is tantamount here in this community.
Here is also the latest press conference from Joe Biden a short time ago.
As this investigation continues, here's what we're going to do. First, Mr. Trump, as a former president and nominee of the Republican Party, already receives a heightened level of security. And I've been consistent in my direction to the Secret Service to provide him with every resource, capability, and protective measure necessary to ensure his continued safety. Second, I've directed the head of the Secret Service to review all security measures for the Republican National Convention, which is scheduled to start tomorrow. And third, I've directed an independent review of the national security at yesterday's rally to assess exactly what happened, and we'll share the results of that independent review with the American people as well. And finally, I'll be speaking more about this tonight at greater length from the Oval Office. We must unite as one nation. We must unite as one nation to demonstrate who we are.
The Republican National Convention to which both Biden and the Secret Service were referring, it's the timing's remarkable. So this is the event at which Donald Trump has ultimately officially made the Republican candidate for the presidency of the United States. He's the presumptive nominee on the strength of winning the most votes, but then there's the actual official process where the delegates turn up and they vote state by state on the basis of the voting that took place. So you're getting in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, every key player in the Republican movement, all the big donors, the big movers and shakers, Donald Trump himself, other nominees. This is an event that needs to have the absolute highest level of security. It always was going to be. It'll be even more so now. But that takes place tomorrow, our time as well. So there was some speculation that might be postponed as a result of all this. I was thinking yesterday too, Luce, as we were talking about this, and just looking back at the timeline of incidents involving US presidents over history, and there's a significant number of those dating back to Andrew Jackson in 1835. You've got Abraham Lincoln, who was killed in 1865, one of four sitting presidents to be killed. James Garfield in 1881, William McKinley in 1901, and of course JFK in 63. I was thinking of that 63 case because there'd be a lot of our listeners who were around for the JFK assassination. And I wonder if yesterday brought back any memories of that day. Do we have anyone listening that has any memories of that day in 1963 with JFK? And did any of it, obviously the end result was far less tragic, albeit a life was lost yesterday, just wasn't of the political candidate. Did it bring back any memories? What memories do you have of 1963? We'd love to hear from you this morning, 8223 or flick us a text 0448081395.
I believe when you go to America, Will, you've been over, I'm not sure if you've done this, you can go and do a tour and step out.
The walking tour.
The actual events of the JFK shooting.
In Dallas, Texas. I haven't been there. We may have had listeners that have done that before.
Well, if anyone's done it and retrace the steps as it was, we'd love to hear from you this morning, 8223 or on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook live stream, or of course text us on the Duttons text line. All new Triton in stock for immediate delivery with great driveway deals at Duttons, Mitsubishi, Murray Bridge. Of course, if there's anything else you'd like to raise this morning, just to break up the news that filters through, it's a really heavy news Monday. We'd love to hear some other stories today if you feel the need to bring them to our attention. If you're heading out and about on the roads early this morning, we'll check your traffic for the first time this morning. Enjoy improved wellbeing and fitness in a welcoming, fun environment at Brain Body Fitness Studio, Unley and Woodville.
Thanks, Lucy, and morning, Will. At Prospect, a crash, Regency Road near Main North Road, Northfield, car rollover, Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Slow for works at Morfordville today, Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, and starting to get busy at South Road at Glandore. Got speeds at 40 there and super bumpy for works. Cameras this morning, Airport Road, Brooklyn Park and Rolls Road at Lockleys. Flight Centre has your next family vacay sorted with a 7-night Fiji stay at the 5-star Shangri-La from just $750 per person. Book with Flight Centre today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Bigger, better, leany, meeny, money, mo, and flower. You're the chosen one.
Pick your favourite Kia. From the award-winning Kia Sportage to the street cred delivering Kia Seltos, or Kia's most powerful car ever, the all-electric EV6 GT. Book a test drive today to find your chosen one. Find out more at kia.com.au or drop into your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires. The critical part of any healthcare is the care. It's about being by your side when you and your loved ones need us most. Through late night fevers, through the rough and tumble of weekend sports, through weird rashes, mystery aches, and knowing in your heart that something's not quite right. From surgery to rehabilitation, through emergencies, mental illness, chronic diseases, and for better health. Your doctor cares. Let's take care of them too. Authorised by Dr. David Pope, SASMOA, Adelaide.
If your business needs finance fast, speak to Universal Finance right now. Universal Finance make business loans easy. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now with same-day settlements in most cases. See Universal Finance in Kent Town or search Universal Finance. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
Austrac Camper's Red Arc battery management system lets you get off the beaten track and off-grid for a week, a month,
Will you stop pretending you're in a radio ad?
or until you get on each other's nerves.
Austrac Campers!
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. Our Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
6:48 this Monday, the 15th of July. Just as we're watching now on Sky News, Scott Morrison is now having his turn to discuss yesterday's events. We'll cut off a bit of.
Well, some sort of a relationship, as Joe Hockey does too, that with Donald Trump, both of whom have been spoken to over the course of the last 24 hours, a little bit on Sky. We've got a text from someone. I would clear this up because I would hate people to be upset with me. Will, you forgot the greatest president of all time, Teddy Roosevelt. Well, Teddy Roosevelt was the subject of an attempted assassination. It's a longer list. If I was reading out the 4 successful assassination attempts, the others where presidents got injured, I'm just thinking I have to include someone like Gerald Ford in 75. Reagan was obviously on that list as well, and of course Teddy Roosevelt. Not forgotten, just a different list.
Let's head over to the Weather Bureau now. Mark Anilak's on duty. Morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Will.
Not foggy this morning, but still a cool start to today.
There's plenty of fog inland, but not for Adelaide itself. We've got a cool day on the way, heading for a top of 13 degrees. Still a fair few showers moving up in this cool southerly airstream, so the Weather Watch radar showing many showers about the Adelaide area and the greater sort of southern parts around the state. So a cool day, 13 degrees, shower or two expected today, with those showers persisting into Wednesday, Thursday, but gradually easing as we move through the week. 13 degrees today, shower or two, 14 tomorrow, and 15 degrees on Wednesday.
Mark, it's not going to get higher than 15 at all for the next 7 days, is it? This would be our coolest period this winter?
I think it would be, yes. We've got this driving cold southerly flow moving up, and it's affecting pretty much the whole of the southeast of Australia, but certainly for Adelaide itself, a cool week ahead.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Mark Anlike there on duty at the Bureau. Let's head over to Sapone. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan's on duty. Hi, Jen.
Good morning.
Now, Will and I just briefly mentioned this before, but tell us about these 5 teenagers arrested in Port Adelaide yesterday.
Yeah, it was just before 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Police were called to a business on Francis Street after reports that a group had been seen entering the property. Now, patrols were quickly on scene and cordoned the area, and PC Jacks came out to assist in that search, and Polio were also airborne at the time, so they were able to direct PC Jacks and the handler into the location of the group, where they arrested 5 teenagers. They're all aged between 15 and 17. They've been charged with being unlawfully on premises, and they're going to go to court in September.
No worries. Thank you, Jen.
Thanks, Lucy.
15 and 17. Unbelievable. 8223 number. You can text us on the Duttons text line as well. So many thoughts coming through. We're going to try and make time to get to all of them over the course of the morning.
We mentioned the Republican convention taking place in Milwaukee. It's going ahead. David Woiwod for 7 News is over there, the US Bureau Chief. Morning to you, David.
Morning, guys. Yeah, it's not only going ahead, Donald Trump is on his way now.
Well, that was quick. What is so it's 10 to 7 in the morning here. What have we missed overnight, and how did we get to Donald Trump leaving hospital and now about to be in Milwaukee?
Well, we saw these pictures last night of Donald Trump leaving hospital. He was seen walking out of his Trump Force One, as he likes to call it, and he spent the night at his New Jersey estate. It's a Bedminster. It's a massive golf course, a sprawling property there. In fact, we've seen some images this morning actually posted online by a Republican senator. Now, this is a major Trump backer, and they appear to show Donald Trump actually out for a round of golf this morning. So he's woken up, he's got the sticks out, and he's gone for a bit of a hit, perhaps just trying to show and reassure his supporters that he is A-OK. And in fact, this senator has posted it with the caption, "Gets shot at one day, plays golf the next." So he's finished up there, we understand, and he's now on his way to Milwaukee. He has put out a statement on Truth Social. Of course, he's an online platform, and he has essentially said that he will not allow this assassination attempt to now derail his campaign, and that he will still be attending this event here in Milwaukee. It is a major event, and it's a major milestone in the party in that election process. He has to be here to accept that nomination from his party. Of course, he stormed it in. He's steamrolled through that primary process. So he'll be on his way here now, and then the party will roll on. It all kicks off tomorrow, and then Donald Trump gives that keynote speech at the end of the week.
The Republican convention now is fascinating this week. I'm not sure if you've covered any of these before, David, or you've been to them, but what sort of access do you typically get? And do you expect now it's going to be a bit like Fort Knox getting into this thing?
It already is. So we've picked up our credentials today, and we are inside the sort of cordoned off area. So there's kind of this ring of steel around the convention centre and a few blocks either side of where the Republicans will be holding this event. There will be thousands and thousands of people here over the days. And as you know, with these events, there's a bit of a tempo to them, and there'll be some minor speakers on the first day, and then you sort of build up in significance throughout the party, and then it ends on that high note with Donald Trump. We're also expecting him to, at some point, we believe, this is the speculation at this stage, to announce his running mate, his vice presidential candidate as well. So there's still so much to play out. But in terms of the security around this area at the moment, it was always going to be very high. I mean, those threats and those challenges for those security forces right now, they haven't changed that much in light of what had happened yesterday. Those challenges and those threats had always been there. So, yeah, there is a massive ring of steel around. There are law enforcement on each and every gate and every access point into this venue.
David, I know you've been in the States for a few years now, but as an Aussie, how did yesterday's events make you feel?
Do you know what? And we were doing live crosses for like 13 or 14 hours, and I think every time I saw that footage, it still kind of shocked me. I mean, I was too young to witness any other kind of assassination attempt like this. I was watching Donald Trump's rally live. I mean, it's what we do. We watch a lot of Donald Trump live. And we were sitting there, and I was watching the images because he was in Pennsylvania. We were in Milwaukee. And to see him all of a sudden stop talking, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And, of course, he's a bit of a showman. And he started, as you've seen the pictures now, swatting his hand around his head. And then he's very deliberately gone to ground. And in that instant, you saw the crowd respond, and you knew that something had gone shockingly wrong. And even after 14 hours of talking about it non-stop, I was still shocked by those images.
Yeah, I think we are, and the rest of the world are as well, David. I'm a little shocked we don't know more about the motivation of the gunman, Thomas Crooks, at this point in time. Our recent experience with US shooters is, thanks largely to social media, that they get identified and shortly thereafter there are a long list of their political affiliations. Often there's some sort of manifesto and some such that's been posted in video form or online somewhere. We know this guy signed up to be a member of the Republican Party a short time ago, but beyond that, there's still nothing, is there?
No, not yet. The investigators are still going through that. I dare say that they would be pretty careful about coming forward with anything perhaps a little bit undercooked in terms of evidence surrounding that motivation right now. So that's an incredibly delicate point. But, back to your earlier point, he's a registered Republican voter, although in recent years he's given a little bit of money to some groups that were actually aligned with the Democrat side of politics. So we can't, read too much into his political affiliations. But no motive has been given at this stage. We know that he was a 20-year-old. He was a bit of a loner, as is often the case. We hear those stories all the time. He sort of had no mates at school. And there's also some major questions as well surrounding the security of this event, because it's now been revealed that he had sort of raised some suspicions earlier in the day, sort of been, walking around the perimeter of that area. And so the local law enforcement had sort of clocked him, but they hadn't really raised the alarm too much. So some major questions there for the Secret Service as well.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
David Woiwod there in Milwaukee for the Republican Convention, 7 News US Bureau Chief, in for a big few days, David, and his team over there.
Yeah, it certainly is. Big few days, big few months. So we mentioned a little bit earlier, Luce, that yesterday, I wonder if it raised any memories for our listeners of 1963 with JFK, and there's a couple that have called in. Margaret in Parafield Gardens, good morning.
Good morning, good morning. Sorry, it's not myself, but it is my mother, and she lives in an aged care home. She's almost 92, and she called me yesterday, and she was very lucid with all her details, because this just brings back memories, because back in 1963, the day that JFK was assassinated was her birthday. So she just remembers it, and she just remembers it very, very well. And my brother was only little, that was the year that he was born, and she just remembers sobbing her heart out. And I do vaguely remember her being sad, because I was only young, but I didn't understand why, because, back then Australians weren't really into a lot of American politics, but I don't know, it just seemed every woman had a soft spot for JFK, and I remember her crying, and she phoned me yesterday, and she just said it just brings back those memories.
Wow. Thank you, Margaret.
It might. Thank you, Margaret. Richard in Glenside has also called in. Morning to you, Richard.
Oh, hi. I remember I was in the under-14s at Saints in those days, and we were playing, it was a Saturday morning, we're playing CBC, and I got 7 for 14, best figures I ever got, so I've never forgotten it.
Big day for many reasons. Thank you for the call, Richard.
Thank you, Richard. Cheers. Appreciate it. 8223 0000. Keep the thoughts coming in. A lot of people would have their say on this. This is a massive political issue, of course, that's unfolding in real time. We're going to get you across it after 7 o'clock as well. But if you've got some thoughts on it, share them with us. You can text to on 0480 1395. We're going to do after 7 o'clock this morning. Is Lucy and I were here yesterday at work, and we had a conversation, and we'd scoured the internet for the best first-person reactions to what had taken place. The ones with insight, not just gratuitous. It was so sad. We know it was a horrific situation that played out in Butler, Pennsylvania. But we wanted to give you some people who saw things, saw the shooter, medical professionals who attended to the innocent people who had been shot. You're going to hear from them after 7 o'clock. And also, Lucy chatted with an eyewitness, a reporter who was there just covering the Trump campaign, who saw it all unfold. You're going to hear from all of those people right after the 7 o'clock news.
The passing of someone close places unique stress on family and friends. At this time, Farrell and O'Neill Funerals are here to provide reassurance and peace of mind. Farrell and O'Neill offer creative guidance and advice to tailor a service that best honours your loved one. Whether a large gathering or a small, intimate service, Farrell and O'Neill share their generations of experience in tailoring a unique and meaningful farewell. Proudly SA family owned and operated, because it's personal.
Thinking about retirement? Australian Super is with you. Just like we've always supported Magesh.
It was really important to know that I was being looked after.
As Australia's most trusted fund, whatever your path to retirement, we're with you. Visit australiansuper.com/yourpath. Reader's Digest Most Trusted Super Brand 2023. Read the PDS and TMD at australiansuper.com.
The way we connect with listeners is changing. Radio, podcast, streaming, in-store, and the way to connect your business with millions of Aussie listeners every week is at Amplify. August 27 and 28 at Jama's Restaurant, Bowden. Tickets are free, but you need to register at audiorsvp.com.au. Hear how audio can change the way you do business for the better. Register now at audiorsvp.com.au.
It's our first Christmas in July at Wayville Hyundai, and we want to make it special. We're inviting you to join us by popping a gift under our Christmas tree so we can pass it on to Kickstart for Kids. Plus, we're donating $100 from every car sold all month. Head to our website to see how you can help make a difference. Christmas in July at Wayville Hyundai, Goodwood Road opposite the showground. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
A shower at 2 and 13 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Graham Goodings.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
It's been revealed the man who shot at former President Donald Trump had explosives in his car at the rally site. Experts say Donald Trump narrowly escaped death during the assassination attempt at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. The former US president was shot at by a 20-year-old man who positioned himself on an adjacent rooftop and opened fire. He was killed at the scene. Former FBI Special Agent Thomas Baker is told today Mr. Trump is lucky.
The bullet actually pierced the former president's ear. Had his head been turned slightly as it had been a few seconds earlier, that shot would have gone directly into his brain and it would have been a kill shot. Unfortunately, other people were wounded and one man was killed, which is tragic.
Katrine Hildyard, the embattled Childcare Services Minister, has cancelled her planned annual leave with her portfolio engulfed in controversy. The blowtorch has come on after revelations that hundreds of abuse calls are going unanswered and 50 charges of sexual offences against children in state care. Ms Hildyard has confirmed she'll change her holiday plans. The construction union will hold an emergency meeting this morning as it faces pressure to clean up its act. An investigation by 60 Minutes has revealed underworld figures have been acting as CFMEU delegates, receiving thousands of dollars working on state and federal projects. Business groups are urging the federal government to establish a royal commission into the matter. Former Detective Inspector Ken Ashworth has led investigations into organised crime for state and federal police. He's told 60 Minutes not enough is being done to stop corruption in the organisation.
It's rotten to the core. You've got standover going on, extortion going on, contracts being awarded that shouldn't be awarded, honest people being pushed out of the industry. It's a terrible state of affairs, and nobody's doing anything about it.
Union boss John Setka resigned from the position on Friday before the report was released. We're set to fork out hundreds more for gas following rate hikes next month. Major energy companies are advising households of price rises of up to 12%, more than $200 annually. Small businesses face average increases of almost $700 a year. King Charles and Queen Camilla will visit Australia in October this year, but they won't be coming to SA. The royal couple will only visit the ACT and New South Wales on their trip. It'll be the King's first visit to Australia as sovereign. Actress Shannon Doherty has died at the age of 53 after a 9-year battle with breast cancer. She spoke of her fears and regrets recently on her podcast.
My priority at the moment is my mom. I know it's going to be hard on her if I pass away before her, but I'm so sorry. This is a hard one for me.
The actress starred in the popular series Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Good morning, Corey Norris.
Good morning, Graham. England's wait for another major football trophy will continue. The Three Lions have been beaten by Spain in the final of the Euros in Berlin 2-1. The winner coming late in the second half.
Cucurella! 2-1 Spain! Oyarzabal! Prompt! Neat!
That audio thanks to Optus Sport. It's certainly party time in Spain after their young tennis star Carlos Alcaraz dominated Novak Djokovic to defend his crown at Wimbledon. Craig Gabriel is there.
When he was 12, Carlos Alcaraz was interviewed and he said his dream was to win Wimbledon. He's now champion for the second year in a row. And for the second year in a row, he's defeated Novak Djokovic, but this time it was in straight sets, 6-2, 6-2, 7-6. Alcaraz had 3 championship points, serving for the title at 5-4, but incredibly, Djokovic broke him. But in the tiebreak, Alcaraz held on to win 7-4. He's the 6th man in the
Back
Open
Port
era
Adelaide has
to
limped
win the
home from its
French Wimbledon
14-point
double.
loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. Forward Todd Marshall will have scans on a hip injury thanks to friendly fire from Charlie Dixon. The Power also lost Lockie Jones to concussion after a collision with the Suns' Alex Davies. The Power has slipped out of the 8 with their finals hopes on the brink. In the final games of round 18, Brisbane defeated West Coast by 13 points at Optus Stadium, and the Giants made light work of Richmond at the MCG. And Aussie golfer Adam Scott has fallen just short at the Scottish Open, finishing second to Robert McIntyre by 1 shot. And that's the 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
Good morning. At Prospect, the crash to look out for today. Regency Road near Main North Road at Northfield. A car rollover. Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Slow for works at Morfordville today. Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace. And getting busy for works at Angle Park, South Road near Grand Junction Road. You find cameras Conningham Street, Glenunga and Decatable Terrace at Kent Town. Start your next adventure with Subaru. With free roadshow and CTP, 5 years roadside assist and a fuel voucher on selected models. Ends July 31. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower 2, 13 today. Tomorrow, a shower 2, 14. Wednesday, also a shower 2, 15. Then Thursday, a possible shower 14. Currently, it's 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
8 minutes after 7. Good morning to you if you're just waking up on this Monday, the 15th of July. Biggest news, of course, around the country and around the world is the attempted assassination of Donald Trump yesterday. We'd love to hear your thoughts and have you on the air this morning, 8223 0000, or you can text us on the Duttons text line, 0448 08 1395. You can text us about anything else you'd like as well. We're happy to introduce other topics today, but of course, today is headlined by the attempted assassination yesterday. Coming up this hour, though, Rowie will join us to chat the weekend in footy. Stacey Lee is back with her thoughts on the state of SA politics. She's back from her break, and we'd love to chat to you, of course.
You might be very excited about the King and Queen coming to visit. King Charles and Queen Camilla coming to visit Australia in October of this year.
Yes, they're heading to the eastern states. So if you're a royal fan, you can head over to the ACT or New South Wales in October. I do also have an important anniversary I would like to announce for South Australia. We don't have to do it now.
Okay.
But it's just
keep us hanging.
It's just a fun one, to break up the Trump chat, we might say.
All right. Looking forward to that. And we'd love to hear from any royal enthusiasts that might travel to New South Wales or the ACT to go see the King. Let's start with what is the news story that is on the front page of every newspaper on planet Earth today. Pretty much every single one with the same photograph. What is going to become one of the most recognisable and extraordinary photographs in modern political history. That of Donald Trump rising with a defiant fist, blood streaks on his face, flanked by Secret Service agents after a failed assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday. Before we hear from some of the people who were there, just wanted to get you across what we know this morning, including the sad news that there was a man shot dead beyond the gunman, a 50-year-old by the name of Corey Comparatore, who dived on his family to protect them when the bullets started flying, according to his wife. He was a spectator. The latest on the two other injured victims is that they remain in a critical condition. Their identities to this point are unknown. The gunman was a 20-year-old by the name of Thomas Crooks, shot and killed by the Secret Service at the rally. State voter records indicate he was a registered Republican, although, as David Warwick told us a moment ago, he donated to Democrat adjacent causes in recent months as well. Not much is being released, perhaps deliberately, about what his motivations have been. We don't know anything about him beyond those two data points. He didn't have any military background, for example. The expectation and the understanding is the assault rifle he used in the shooting he got from a parent. Interestingly, explosive materials were found in his car. He has all the hallmarks: loner, guns, explosive devices of someone who generally uploads a manifesto and details their motivations. That doesn't appear to be the case in the Thomas Crooks experience, so we'll hopefully learn more very soon about that. It's an important component of this. The US President has said at the White House earlier today that he's ordered a review of the the Republican National Convention security and rally security. Now, that's taking place tomorrow over the next couple of days to officially confirm Donald Trump as the Republican candidate. Originally, he said we might have to delay for this for 2 days, but his behaviour since that point has been, none of this is going to stop me. So much so, reports he got up and played golf this morning. On Truth Social, he tweeted again, not tweet, I don't know what the Truth Social version of tweeting is. He posted, thank you, Lucy. Based on yesterday's terrible events, I was going to delay my trip to Wisconsin and the Republican National Convention by 2 days, but have just decided that I cannot allow a shooter or potential assassin to force change to scheduling or anything else. Therefore, I'll be leaving for Milwaukee as scheduled, 3:30 p.m. today. Thank you, DJT. So that's what's developed this morning. We have heard from the US President Joe Biden on a number of occasions. We will hear from him again this morning during our program, and also some Australian friends of Donald Trump, including Scott Morrison, who will play shortly. But back to the terrible events at Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday. A couple of eyewitnesses. We spent yesterday scouring the internet for the best interviews that took place in the immediate aftermath. There's no witness testimony like the one that's happened moments after a major event. And make no mistake, this is a major event in modern political history. Have a listen to this person who tried to alert Secret Service and police to what he saw as a gunman clambering onto a roof when he came out of a nearby business to watch the Trump rally.
Greg?
Yes. So we had a party here all day. At the, you can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, you know, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and watch and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, you know, but. We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on. You know, we're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes?
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes?
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
That man called himself Greg, talking to Gary Donahue from the BBC.
Yeah,
the Washington correspondent for the BBC.
We do know, as we just mentioned a moment ago too, there were at least 3, whilst Donald Trump wasn't seriously injured, the bullet just grazing his ear, 3 people were shot, 2 in a serious condition, 1 was killed. He was attended to by a physician, a medical expert who was at the rally just as someone there to witness and was suddenly called into action.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood. So I got people there really helpful. I got
Was there
him
only
up
one
on a
person
bench.
shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
God, it sounds terrifying hearing that.
A few people have texted us saying it's remarkable the way in which people in the background, I mean, we've seen the footage so many times now, your eyes go from looking at the Secret Service to Donald Trump to the reaction of people in the background. And a few of our listeners have made the observation that is it just an American, people accustomed to, or they've heard about enough shootings that they know how to act, or there's less complete panic, because the people sort of cower a little bit. Some move from their seats.
They
Others
ducked rather than ran.
Yeah, that's a great description.
Part of me thinks they didn't know where the shooter was.
Yeah.
That they figured if they just ducked down, because if you're running, you might run straight into them, wherever they may have been. But I know I saw a lot of comments as well that many of them thought they were fireworks. It's been the July 4th celebrations, some hangers-on for celebrating with fireworks. Many of them thought it just sounded like that, and as we know from the TV screens, it sounded like a popping rather than, I mean, for us, we even speculated yesterday that it sounded more like a pellet gun. Not that we would have any idea.
And with the way Trump just got back up, you thought, yes, it was something
Yeah.
less lethal than it ultimately turned out to be. Now there's people with Australian connections to Donald Trump who have been interviewed this morning, like former Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, who spoke to Sky News a short time ago.
I've passed on a message through an intermediary. I mean, at this time, obviously, he's very focused on Milwaukee coming up, not amongst many other things. But, you know, it's a difficult time, I'm sure, for his family. I thought Melania Trump posted something very, very meaningful overnight here in Australia. And, I mean, she makes the point that, you know, when people look at others as if they're some sort of dehumanised machine, then, frankly, anything is possible. And we see far too much of that when it comes to political debate, whether it's overseas or indeed here. People are just reduced to narratives that are shallow and superficial to suit other people's motives, and they're repeated in the media, of course. And, you know, we don't know much about who this shooter is. The motives are very unclear. But what we do know is that something terribly violent has occurred, and a man has lost his life and a family is grieving. And this is a terribly sad and tragic event.
I agree completely with both Melania and everything Scott Morrison just said then. When every single political figure on planet Earth, it feels, is one Photoshop edit away from having a Hitler moustache, as they appear to be these days, there is a cohort of the population who can't handle that, who can't handle it, who can't process that this is part of modern political discourse, that this is the cut and thrust of modern politics, where it's not just commentators who speak, who are held accountable by way of laws and defamation and so forth. It's everyone with a social media account, both named and anonymous, who have access to all these editing tools that can make people out to do and say and be whatever the hell you want them to be. And that those most extraordinary images then are rebroadcast to the people who probably can't handle it the most because of the power of the algorithms that run social media. So if it really agitates you, you're going to see more of it. So what we have is a combination at the moment, when it comes to talking politics in the Western world on social media, of the most inflamed imagery we've ever seen. And we've got a mechanism that'll make the people less capable of seeing it see it most often. That's a deadly combination. It's a deadly combination. It was almost deadly for Donald Trump yesterday. It was deadly for people in that crowd yesterday. And again, we have the same people that are incapable of processing that in Australia. We just don't have access to assault rifles as readily and as easily as they do in the United States. That's the only difference. I think there are lessons for Australian politics in this as well. We shouldn't need them to end in a fatality for them to be heated.
Couple of texts. John from Glenelg says, all I can say is how brave are the Secret Service's people that shielded Trump. Steve says, hi guys, I think it's time the USA has gun reform laws. A few people have said, oh, about time, or always knew this would happen, or wondered when that day would come. Well, the day did come and it was unsuccessful, thankfully, but a lot of people potentially unsurprised.
I agree with John, and we started the program talking about them, Lucy. The Secret Service people who rolled out of bed. I don't know what the morning routine for a Secret Service agent is, but I guess their day starts like anyone else, having a coffee and a shower, and you get changed and you go to work and you hope you have a good day. Their bad day, it looks like them standing as a body shield for someone who's being shot at in the moment. I can't get my head around that. Now, presume the training gets you there, the experience, they've probably got military backgrounds, I'm not sure. But in that moment, when everyone else's instinct is cower, hide, run, be safe,
they don't get to.
They do the exact opposite. Yeah, you tip your hat.
Stephen Rowe coming up shortly with our footy wrap of the weekend, but first let's check traffic.
Thanks, Lucy. At Prospect, a crash to look out for. Regency Road near Main North Road. At Northfield, a car rollover. Hampstead Road near Grange Junction Road. Slow for works at Port Adelaide today. Commercial Road near Charlton Street. And getting busy at Modbury North. McIntyre Road near Mill Road. You'll find early morning cameras. Fitzroy Terrace North, Adelaide, and Moseley Streets at Glenelg South. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. Is it a feud? Or is it a bromance? Whatever it is, they're bringing it to the project. 6:30 tonight on 10 and 10 Play. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
The price of electricity between 2022 and 2023, the number of people struggling to pay electricity bills increased by 18%. But you can rejoice in the marginal, almost laughable and slap in the face figures that the drop actually equates to come the 1st of July.
Matthew Pantelis.
It comes in at a few bucks per quarter. Enjoy the cup of coffee you buy.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Mate, it was so easy. Drop the car into Automasters. Next thing, I get a video on my phone.
AutoCam. It's new from Automasters.
The service advisor is there live doing a real-time report on my car.
Real-time video sent direct to you from your Automasters technician.
He shows me the problem, makes a recommendation, and look, there's the quote.
So good. Totally transparent, instant SMS approval, and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. The future of vehicle servicing here now. Call 1300 Automasters.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
Let's just say you've signed a building contract, work is underway on your dream home, everyone's excited, and then one day, crunch, your builder hits rock while digging your footings.
Well, what happens next? Most builders will send you a nice letter, then bump up their price with a variation.
But not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed, and that's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip, and now there's Barossa Mazda, Murray Street, Nuriupa. SA's newest Mazda dealership is now open. For 40 years, Steinborner has provided South Australians with outstanding customer service, exceptional value, and a large selection of new, used, and demo vehicles. The Steinborner story continues with the opening of their new, state-of-the-art Mazda dealership in Barossa Valley. Barossa Mazda. It's well worth the trip. barossamazda.com.au.
I've booked the car into Automasters. Next thing, there's a video on my phone.
Shows me the problem, makes a recommendation, and look, there's the quote.
So good. Totally transparent, instant SMS approval, and Automasters pay later options.
AutoCam. New from Automasters.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
24 minutes after 7.
Stephen Rowe on 5AA Breakfast.
Morning to you, Roy.
Oh, Will and Lucy, good morning. A massive weekend of sport. Spain just beat England 2-1 in the Euros. Alcaraz smoked the violinist. That's Novak. Straight sets of women. That was a popular win. A Slovenian leads the Tour de France after stage 15. We're here to talk AFL. Crows won. Gee, that was a slog. And Port lose to the Suns. Tumbled out of the 8. So where do you want to start?
I want to start here, Rowie. In the film Happy Gilmore, his happy place involves his scantily clad girlfriend serving him pitchers of beer. Mine involves Riley Thilthorpe's last quarter. That was that takes me to a very happy place on a Monday morning.
Oh boy, wow, Crows won. Well, in the end, it was a slog by 32 points. Challenged all day, ran away with it. Now let's start here. I was miffed on Friday and grilled Mick Godden about Riley Thilthorpe playing in a team with 3 other tall forwards, thinking, what are they going to do? Someone then said, well, what if he's the sub? And I said, if he's the sub, fair dinkum. Has anybody looked at the bomb weather report? It's going to rain the whole second half. Well, it did, but he come on and absolutely starred. God, it was good to see him, wasn't it? He has put on some beef. His movement, and now we know the quality of him. He's a pick too. You know, he had a massive pre-season where, you know, I think I said before a ball was bounced. He has a great year, an All-Australian type of year, or kicks 50 goals. That's 3 or 4 or 5 places up the run on the ladder. Well, we missed him. He was back. How good was he?
He looks superb. I mean, I still don't think you're wrong in your criticism of the sub-choice, Rowie, because if a midfielder had pinged a hamstring in the first quarter, I think we're having a different conversation right now. But let's forget that. Let's think about how good
the positives.
That
yep. It was a courageous in. I think they dodged a bullet. I mean, we said at 3/4 time, or Campo did, said imagine if the sub was Chase Jones or Schomburg. You know, you got run because it's what you needed. But no, he was terrific. They took Elliot Himmelberg off. I like also the fact that Dowling and Taylor are getting good runs and good minutes on ball. They look the level. And this Hugh Bond, talk about a pick, 1 out, 9 back. His nickname's Chesty Bond Singlet. He wore that bloke in the forward line like a real close-checking small defender that they need. So, yep, I reckon they've found a couple there. How good?
His numbers never jumped off the page. I think every Crows fan went, what? He's not routinely named the best at Sandford. His numbers don't impress you. But we asked Josh Rochelle about him last week. I got a great deal of confidence by the look on his face because he said, I hate playing on him. It's a bad day at training when you've got Hugh Bond on you. And I thought, well, that sounds pretty useful.
Yep, you need those sort of blokes in the back half, just sitting on those dangerous small forwards, and they look like they found him. So well done to Huey on debut. Port Adelaide lost by 14 points. The Suns, I thought, looked the better team all day. In the end, I think it'd be disappointing for the group, and they copped some injuries. Jones got concussed. Marshall, you know, there's a saying in the car industry, put him up on the blocks. He needs to have a spell. Marshall, Mitch Georgiadis is back, which is great. But you know what? You wake up the morning and they're 9th. 10 teams on that ladder changed positions on the ladder. I've never seen a season like it. It's the closest finals race I can remember, I think for 27 years. Just 2 wins separate Carlton, who were, second, with Hawthorn, who were 12th.
13th even.
Oh, 13th. Well, there you go. I got the numbers wrong. I mean, and there's 6 games to go.
It's ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Everything's still to play for, everything up for grabs. Looking forward to the sports show tonight, Rowie.
Yeah, well done. Big shows. Stud will join us. Treaders will speak to both clubs, and let's hope we can get Riley Thilthorpe on. He's about 113 kilos, so I'd say to him, go another 2 and you've got me.
Similar builds. Good on you, Rowie.
Yeah,
similar talent.
Thank you, Rowie. 7:28 this Monday morning, 8223 0000. We'd love to chat to you over the phone today. Whatever is on your mind regarding the Trump attempted assassination or the footy on the weekend or anything else you'd like to introduce to the conversation after the 7:30 news, Stacey Lee.
Companies and small business that use one solution for their IT management, cybersecurity and AI implementation are always ahead of the curve and ready for anything. One Solution is local too, a full-service technology company right here in Adelaide, offering a diverse range of solutions across IT, telecommunications, phone and mobile systems, cybersecurity and AI. Today, more than ever, it's important to safeguard your business. Do it with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
Imagine a workplace that inspires productivity and creativity and reflects a connection with nature. With locally sourced furniture and custom printed fabrics and finishes to suit your brand and workspace, our office furniture is crafted to perfection. At Keen Office Furniture, we're dedicated to creating exceptional workspaces, and our furniture is designed to inspire and endure. We inspire productivity naturally. Let us help you create a workspace that inspires. Keen Office Furniture. Work happy. Get keen.
I'm sure we all know what a swear jar is. In some homes it's fuller than others, but here's a swear jar that is full of goodness, not penance for swearing. The swear jar at Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens is full of pledges and promises from the whole team at Biourban, things they swear to do for you.
That's right. Here's one from the Biourban swear jar. Now, this is from Chloe, who's the operations manager. Chloe being, of course, the new Jasmine, who's off on maternity leave at present. Chloe, massive Crows fan. Maybe her happy place involves Riley Philthorpe. Haven't asked. She says, now, everyone says Chloe's the queen of all bathroom renovation projects. And Chloe swears to ensure all the trades arrive on time, every time, day in and day out.
So for a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovations experts.
Join the great cover-up and get a Walco Guardian pool cover. Made right here in SA, a Walco Guardian pool cover will preserve your chemicals, keep your water clean, and you won't need to run your pump. Put your pool to bed for winter. Visit walco.com.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Rush hour 2 and 13 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A major review will be undertaken by the FBI to determine how a shooter was able to go undetected at a campaign rally for Donald Trump. The former president is on his way to the Republican National Convention just a day after he was targeted in an attempted assassination. The attack killed one rally-goer and injured 2 officers. The assailant was shot dead by police. Time magazine correspondent Jay Newton-Small says the finger-pointing has already begun in Washington, D.C.
Members of Congress already talking about sponsoring legislation that would increase details for both President Biden, former President Donald Trump, and a third-party candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is an independent in this race, who actually doesn't have Secret Service protection as of yet and has complained over the last few weeks that he should be getting such protection.
Meantime, Trump remains steadfast in his plans to continue his presidential campaign. In a statement, former US President says he looks forward to speaking with his followers at this week's Republican National Convention. Experts are questioning whether Mr. Trump will now streak ahead in the polls in the wake of the assassination attempt. US political expert Professor John Kane from Griffith University drawing similarities to the attempt on President Ronald Reagan's life.
Absolutely. In a way, that's what happened with Reagan. Reagan was nearly did die, but he was propped himself up in a hospital bed and showed, smile to the world, and his numbers went up dramatically.
We're set to fork out hundreds more for gas following rate hikes next month. Major energy companies are advising households of price rises of up to 12%, more than $200 annually. Small businesses face average increases of almost $700 a year. The King is expected to visit Australia for the first time since becoming leader of the Commonwealth in 3 months. Katie Fuller reports.
King Charles and Queen Camilla will come down under this October while en route to the Commonwealth Leaders meeting in Samoa. Their itinerary will include New South Wales and Canberra, with further details to come. The 75-year-old has been planning to visit the country since becoming monarch, but there were concerns his recent cancer diagnosis would prevent him from making the trip. The Prime Minister has confirmed the visit. Anthony Albanese says he looks forward to welcoming their Majesties to Australia.
Medical experts want better guidelines for infant formula and toddler drinks. The Australian Medical Association has made recommendations to the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, saying Australia needs marketing codes of practice for breast milk substitutes. President Professor Steve Robson says they want the code to mirror that of the World Health Organization.
The World Health Organization code has guidelines that protect children out to 3 years old, and we know how important it is because what children want to eat and drink is set very early in life.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And now here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Graham. It's party time in Spain. Crowned the champions of Europe with a stunning 2-1 win over England in the Euro final in Berlin.
Correa! 2-1 Spain! Prompt, neat, telling. yet again.
That audio thanks to Optus Sport. It comes after their young tennis star Carlos Alcaraz successfully defended his Wimbledon singles title. The 21-year-old becomes the youngest man to win Wimbledon and the French Open in the same year. It's Alcaraz's fourth major title, but he says he has much more to achieve.
I'm not considering myself a champion yet, but I'm trying to keep going, to keep building my path, my journey, but yeah, it's a huge honour for me.
Port Adelaide forward Todd Marshall will be sent for scans today after suffering a hip injury in yesterday's 14-point loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. The loss means the Power has slipped out of the top 8 with their finals hopes on the brink. Brisbane star Charlie Cameron is set to come under MRO scrutiny after a tackle that left Eagles co-captain Liam Duggan with concussion. The Lions defeated West Coast by 13 points at Optus Stadium. And heartbreak for Aussie golfer Adam Scott, who finished runner-up at the Scottish Open by just one shot. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
Morning there, a prospect to Craig to look out for. Regency Road near Main North Road. At Northfield, a car roll over there. Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Slow for works at Morfordville. Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, and getting busy south road at Glandore for roadworks there. Got speeds down to 40 k's with road plates. Cameras this morning, Fitzroy Terrace, North Adelaide, and Rolls Road at Lockleys. Flight Centre has your next family vacay sorted with a 7-night Fiji stay at the 5-star Shangri-La from just $750 per person. Book with Flight Centre today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower 2 and 13 today. Tomorrow a shower 2, 14. 15 on Wednesday with a shower 2. And Thursday a possible shower 14. Currently it's 6. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
7:37. Good morning to you this Monday morning. Talking about where you were when yesterday will be one of those days. Where were you when the attempted assassination of Donald Trump happened? I was here in the newsroom. You were coming in to call a Port game. My brother celebrating his birthday today. He'll forever remember the day before his birthday was that day. But we'd love to hear from you this morning, 8223 if you have memories of JFK being assassinated or the attempt on Ronald Reagan.
We had a lot of good calls earlier in the first hour of the program saying it did trigger a lot of memories in family members or indeed our listeners. My father in the newsroom actually sent us a text through at that time as well saying he remembers in 1963 being woken up by his father, my grandfather, to say Kennedy's been shot. His first reaction was that it was Graham Kennedy. Not JFK. Graham Kennedy, of course, the king of television. That's what it was like being a young person growing up in Melbourne, I suspect. You're very concerned about Graham Kennedy's well-being, but it was, of course, JFK. Let's say good morning to Stacey Lee, shall we?
Stacey Lee returns from her break today with tax returns imminent. Now is the time to upgrade your office furniture. Keenoffice.com.au. Good morning to you, Stacey.
Good morning. It is one of those moments where you do wake up. The partner or the kids or whoever it is that's in your house, you think, no, this warrants a wake up.
Yeah.
This warrants a Sunday morning wake up. What on earth has just happened?
Well, I texted everyone. I spoke to Lucy. I think Lucy was the first one who told me.
Yeah, it was about 5 to 8 yesterday, and I had a
Yeah.
phone call to the newsroom because there's just one person in there on the weekend, and they said, not sure if you're aware, Channel 9's showing that Trump's been shot. And I went, hang on a minute. Can I write something for my 8 o'clock bulletin? And yes, and then I messaged the guys because I figured maybe it's a Sunday, maybe they're not awake yet. But my first thing was I Googled Trump shot, and it hadn't even caught up with that yet. There was nothing on there.
Yeah.
So then I checked Twitter, and the footage started rolling out pretty quickly, and yeah. One of those days.
Crazy.
Different era as well, I think, in terms of live breaking massive news as well, because you told me, and I believe you, Lewis, you're a credible source, and you're sitting in a newsroom, and I know that. But then I, like you, go online to try and get more, and instantly your brain says, well, how much of this is real? Like, are these videos real? Are the graphics real? Are these pictures real?
And it used to be that you could trust the accounts with the blue tick.
Well, yeah, that's
now
right.
you can buy yourself a blue tick. You don't know who you can trust, and you can pose as CN little n, and someone thinks you're CNN, and you're a news service because you've bought a blue tick. It's you don't know what's out there. You don't know who's posting this stuff.
Yeah, that was the first major world news event where I've had that. AI has changed how I think about the news moment, and it was and even today. Honestly, if someone had shown me this picture of the Australian's front page, I'm holding it up on the live stream today, it looks like if you'd fed into an image generator. You know, like even the Secret Service guys, they look like they've been generated in none of it looks real. It's actually, to be honest, it's probably one of the most extraordinary photographs I've ever seen in my entire life. That's Tiananmen Square level. Standing in front of the tank, I think that picture.
And I thought that that vision of Trump getting up afterwards and fist in the air saying, I think it was fight. It looked like he was saying fight.
Yeah, I think so.
Fight. Fight. And I thought, oh, get off the stage. What are you doing? You've just been shot at. Get down.
You can see it on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream now, literally him mouthing the words.
That moment, you know what? And that moment, and it feels, and you would feel like this, especially Stacey, because you're an expert in talking all things politics. It feels almost silly to talk about politics in that moment.
Yeah.
But his brain was thinking politics in that moment.
Yes.
Like, this is the thing. I think sometimes people are a bit intellectually disingenuous when it comes to assessing Donald Trump as a political candidate. Like, the guy's changed politics. You might hate him. You might think he's a dunderhead. Well, like, whatever you think, he's changed politics because there's some things that historically have had to be good at in politics that he's just better than anyone's ever been at. The low-level version of this was during the debate when Joe Biden was rambling about his golf score, and Trump very smartly said, well, that's the biggest lie we've heard tonight. It was so quick in the moment.
Yeah.
He was thinking that part of his brain engaged after a bullet had just whizzed past it on the podium yesterday in that moment you're describing, Stacey, when he was still thinking, no, there's something in this.
Yeah.
There's something, and that's why he's gotten to where he is.
Yep. And he will continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit this morning. I'm not going to talk about Trump for the Keen Office Furniture hot seat or anyone related to US politics. I know that there's been a lot of heat on the Child Protection Minister, and we had a discussion with her about her a couple of weeks ago with Tom Wren here on Winter Breakfast as well. But I have been on the phone a lot over the last week, and I've been getting calls from a lot of people in the arts world here in Adelaide. So we're going to shift gears a fair bit because there are some serious concerns about the future of one of Adelaide's festivals. Adelaide Festival is apparently in some financial stress.
Wow.
They have apparently overspent on their budget last year, and I've heard varying degrees of financial stress that the festival is in. So originally I was told that they've been trading insolvent and they're going to need to make massive job redundancies. Then I was told that they do have a deficit, jobs may not have to go. Then I was told that some of their big philanthropic donors have started to pull funding because of the financial position they're in. Then I was told they've had a couple of pretty high-profile board members leave because of the financial position that the festival is in. Now I'm told they're in debt, but not as many people have to go. So look, as I say, there's varying degrees of the reports, but every single person I've spoken to that is tuned in to the arts world in SA is concerned about Adelaide Festival. Their ticket sales were down last year. Some of the spin I've been getting around why that is because they did have a couple of big free events. You might remember the big whale they put down at Glenelg, which was more of a political message about global warming and climate change. They also had Little Amal, which was a huge puppet. She walked through the city. She was a refugee. She was sort of sending political messages as well, which is what arts does, which is what arts is about. Often politics and art do collide, especially when it comes to a festival like Adelaide Festival. But there are a lot of people in this world here in Adelaide worried about its financial future.
That's a huge story, Stacey. So is the sense you've been getting this has been a period of slow deterioration that's got to this point, or does it sound like fairly dramatically in the last 12, 24 months things have fallen in a big hole?
The latter.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds like it hasn't been a slow and steady decline. It has been a bit quicker than that. And it's not just due to ticket sales, despite what some people are trying to say. And my concern for the Adelaide Festival is I don't think it has the wide appeal that some of our other festivals have. You know, Fringe appeals to a lot of people because there's a lot of different genres involved. Obviously, we have Gather Round and we have Live Now, so that gets the sporting people involved. We've got Cabaret Festival, which has a bit of a cult following. But I do think that Adelaide Festival, it doesn't touch as many people here in Adelaide, but it is one of those global events that Adelaide is really well known for in that sort of artsy world. But it can be perceived as being a bit hoity-toity and arty-farty.
It's high art, yeah.
You know, if you don't like Russian opera, you probably haven't been to Adelaide Festival events much in the past.
Remarkable to think, given their origins, that the Fringe has now not only dwarfed the festival, but it's this thriving enterprise, and the festival from which it originally sprung on the fringes of, struggling to survive. So how much of this, I wonder, is cost of living? Because, and now you say ticket sales are a component of that, would be my first thought. The other, based on what you've said, Stace, is there a bit of a living within your means query here, where Amal, yes, great, the Whale, they ended up here on the top bank of the Torrens too.
It did, yeah.
If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Like, we've all got to make decisions around living within our means, don't we? And the arts community's not inured from that.
And you might be thinking, why do I care about this? And the reason I care about it is because it's taxpayers' money.
Yes.
This is
the whole thing.
It comes from the government, and if you have a festival that, like you say, Will, isn't living within its means, if that's what's happened, we're all sitting at home looking at our budgets going, all right, we can't afford to do that. We can't afford that overseas holiday this year. We can't do this. We can't do that. That electricity bill was more than we thought it would be. So why aren't the festivals doing that, or government departments doing that? And I think everyone out there goes, all right, got to tighten the purse strings a bit right now. Well, so should they.
And it's interesting, the without culture warring it, the space, because I grew up doing arts and theatre, and I love it, right? But it exists in a weird space in not the public consciousness, but I think the consciousness of our lawmakers and the people that fund it, because the V8s were cut, not because they lost money, but they were making less money. There's no way this gets cut. No one's saying it should.
No.
But it's interesting that it wouldn't even enter anyone's thought to say, well, it's now a loss-making enterprise. We should maybe, and I don't even want to say the words, but it seems to be almost, and it's a good one having the hot seat.
Yeah.
The entire arts funding model, for reasons that I think elude a lot of people, just seems to be immune from criticism.
And also transparency. Yeah, you can understand a lot of commercial in confidence, and as much as we hate it, I do understand why we're not told how much the state government is spending to get different events here, because then other states might have an advantage in future. This isn't a submarine contract. We're not talking about defending our state. Why can't we know how much we spent to get a Russian opera here? Or why can't we know how much a puppet from, can't remember where Little Amal was from, I think she was from Pakistan or Palestine or somewhere. Why can't we know how much a puppet cost? None of this is, overtly secretive. I'm not sure that the commercial in confidence is justified as much in arts as it is in defence.
Yeah, I've often been sceptical of the whole commercial in confidence thing, because it's just not how bidding for contracts works in the real world. Like,
yes.
I ask you to do a job for me and you say it's going to cost this much. Now, you don't want to tell everyone in case Lucy finds out, but what am I going to do? Then I just go and ask Lucy. Like, competitive tendering and bidding requires there to be, within the industry, there'll be some understanding of how much something's going to cost. Like, I just think, I find the whole thing a very convenient excuse not to be transparent.
Imagine if it was the new auction system for a house and you don't know how much someone actually bought it for, so you don't know how much your budget is for the next one you're going to bid at, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
This is so weird and secretive, and I don't even know how I'm going.
There are some exceptions, you're right, but this isn't one.
This is not one. The arts is not one. And look, I'm a huge supporter of the arts. Every week on the afternoons program, we have a half-hour State of the Arts segment where we feature events coming up in the state and people doing amazing things in the arts industry. And we are so lucky in South Australia to have such a rich arts industry. And it does need to be varied. And we do need to have the Fringe, and we do need to have the festival, and we do need to have the sporting events, and we do need to have all of it. We have to have a little bit of all of it. And no one wants to see Adelaide Festival go or have its budget reduced. But there is a lot of concern amongst the arts industry in SA at the moment about its financial future.
The Adelaide Festival started in 1960.
It was around before the Fringe. I mean, the point of the Fringe being called the Fringe is because it was on the fringes of the Adelaide Festival.
Couldn't get into the festival.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, Pam in the Barossa Valley is called in on this. Hi, Pam. You're with Stacey and Will.
Yes, good morning. I just commented on the Adelaide Festival. I have always been in previous years, but on this occasion, the last occasion, I didn't go because looking at the program, there was far too many ABC presenters adjudicating with their agendas, and also a lot of the conversations that were taking place was about climate change and about things that are important, but there was just far too much of them and not enough general conversations.
Pam, would you like to go next year?
I would love to go if the program changed and it was opened up to far more people rather than a particular group of people.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Thank you, Pam.
Pam's right in the sense that this is public money. If the festival was all private money, put on whatever the hell you want. And that's no one else's. And if no one comes, that's your problem.
Yep.
But when it's the public funding this, Stacey, as you say, there needs to be some scrutiny, if not of the funding model, well then of the decisions that are made with the backing of the funding. Like there needs, a bit like Australia Post has the expectation, you've got to try and make a dollar. You're not necessarily a profit-making enterprise, but you've got to endeavour to try and operate a bit like a business. Maybe the festival needs to be held to that kind of account.
And look, if those discussions happen and they say we see two big big spending events this year, the Whale and Little Amal, but they're going to be free events, so we're not going to make money for them, but we see a benefit for the wider community and going to see these parts of the Adelaide Festival, and maybe someone from the government, I don't know, you don't really want government getting involved in these things, but if everyone agreed, yeah, that's a good idea, and we're willing to run at a loss this year, but next year you've really got to run it. Then that's a conversation that's had. But I think the issue with this is the secrecy and the transparency. It was brought up in budget estimates. John Gardner, the Shadow Arts Minister, did ask a question of the Minister. I think it was on June 25. So still a few days out from the end of the financial year. Are you aware of the Adelaide Festival's budget? It was something about, did they overspend this year? And the Minister said, oh, well, if it's for this year, we still don't have the answers. Still a few days to go.
Oh, please.
Well, if you don't know 5 days out from the end of the financial year what your financial position is, I mean, that's a worry.
That's called leaving it to the last minute, isn't it?
Just before we get to the break, Rick in Nord also has called in on this. Quickly, Rick, what are your thoughts?
Hi, guys. I just want to make a quick point. I'm not suggesting that cost of living is not difficult, but in the festival's case, it's got nothing to do with cost of living, and I can prove it to you. Matilda's sold out in 3 minutes. Tay sold out in 1 minute. Crows have got 60,000 members, never had so many. Port's never had so many members. And more importantly, the Fringe, 2 years in a row, 1 million tickets sold, plus Black Friday and all those sales records. It's content, nothing to do with the cost of living.
Yeah,
people spend their money where they see the value.
Where they want to.
Great thought. Thank you, Rick.
Totally reasonable point, Rick.
Thank you, Stacey. Keep a close eye on that one. Thank you for coming in this morning. You'll be back from 1:30 this afternoon.
It's okay. So it is the Adelaide Festival Board in the Keen Office Furniture hot seat, in the boardroom of hot seats today.
Terry in Henley Beach, he's great as our resident stirrer.
Oh no, go on.
He's put me in the hot seat.
Oh.
This is.
What have you done?
This is very funny.
Missed opportunity.
Terry says, "Good grief."
Uh-oh.
Will doesn't know what nuclear will cost, but said he'd be the first one to dig a hole to start it. In the context of this debate, I think Terry says I'm a hypocrite. You might be right, Terry.
Terry, well done. It's a Monday, okay?
Gold star.
Thank you, Stacey, and thank you, Terry, for your text message. Stacey Lee from 1:30 this afternoon on 5AA Afternoons. Here's your traffic for the drive-in.
Thanks, Lucy. At Prospect, a crash to look out for. Regency Road near Main North Road. Northfield car roll over there. Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Slow for works at Morfordville. Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, and getting busy at Angle Park. Got works there too. South Road near Grand Junction Road. Early morning cameras, May Terrace, Brooklyn Park, and Catterville Terrace at Kent Town. It's Coles Plus week. Start a free trial of Coles Plus to get $25 off shops over $200 and more online deals at Coles. Ends July 16. Excludes Coles Plus Saver. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
What starts with A and ends with E? Supplements for you and me.
Arbor Vitae health supplements are now available at Chemist Warehouse for just $49.99 a bottle. You save over $19 a bottle at Chemist Warehouse.
Arbor Vitae.
What's the quickest and most affordable way to add noticeable value and street appeal to your home? Easy. Fresh Front it. Fresh Front is Adelaide's #1 rated pressure cleaning company, making tired homes and businesses look new again. Pressure and soft washing your entire home, driveway, pavers, retaining walls and windows. Fresh Front do it all with care and expertise, plus a money-back satisfaction guarantee. Ask now for special winter rates. Visit freshfront.com.au. Looks like new.
Beechwood Homes, Adelaide's leading bespoke home builder, celebrates 35 years. Over that time, they've helped many hundreds of people realise their dream of building a home exactly how they envisioned it. That's the wonderful thing about building with Beechwood. There are no set plans, no set rules. It all starts with a pen, paper, and your ideas. Just like it did 35 years ago. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
It's always handy to have a mate with a bus, van, truck or ute, but they rarely have all four of them and they can't promise 5-star service. That's why Avis Truck Rental Adelaide is the best mate you can have.
They've been SA's go-to vehicle rental company for decades. They've got 12-seaters that are ready to roll with a standard driver's licence that are perfect for a road trip to the footy.
Plus, they'll give you a fixed price up front so you don't get any nasty surprises when you're home. You can just ask for the 5AA fixed price.
With their fleet of vans, buses, utes and trucks, they're sure to help you turn got a problem into not a problem. Avis Truck Rental Adelaide, open 7 days at 416 Port Road, West Hindmarsh. Book online at avis.com.au or call 8241 5200.
5 years. That's around 1,300 cycles in the dishwasher, 1,825 cups of coffee, and 3,650 pieces of toast. 5 years is also the length of the warranty on selected Smeg appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery. Get in quick though, because this offer is only available from the 1st of July till the 31st of July. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, head to promotions.smeg.com.au. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
Suzuki is celebrating 40 years of Swift with an all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid. So, book a test drive today in Australia's best value hybrid, the all-new Suzuki Swift Hybrid, for fun's sake.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
July the 15th, David will return next week. Coming up shortly to the 8 o'clock news, will, of course, the biggest news over the weekend, the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Plenty of talking heads on it this morning. This latest one is a guy by the name of Doug Mills. He was on the Today Show momentarily. He is a photographer with the New York Times and captured some of the incredible images that have come out of Donald Trump's fist in the air. I think he even took one of the bullet sort of flying past. Here is Doug Mills, a photographer from the New York Times. He is currently in Milwaukee, so he's headed straight from Butler, Pennsylvania to Milwaukee to the Republican convention where he spoke to the Today Show.
Not the day I was expecting, that's for sure. And I'm not around guns a lot. I don't hear a lot of, I don't have a handgun, don't own one. So when I heard the pops, I really didn't know it was a gun. And it happened so fast. And when the former president, gestured to his right and the pops started coming and then he grabbed his ear and there was blood on his hand. I knew then that something was terrible and he immediately went down and, I rushed around to the left side. That's me with the white hat on there. As the Secret Service agents completely swarmed him and covered him up. It was a sad day in America, let me tell you. Frightening as hell, to tell you the truth, and not something I ever thought I would be in the middle of. I've covered presidents since 1983, starting back with Ronald Reagan. And one of my colleagues from AP Photos, Ron Edmonds, who recently passed away, photographed the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. And those moments flash back to me quite a bit because he and I spoke about how he reacted that day. And I remember him telling me, Doug, it just was instinct. I went forward rather than back, and I went after the story, and I felt like instincts took part of me yesterday and took over, and I ran there, even though people were yelling to get down, and all of the president's staff were yelling to get down. Secret Service were yelling at us to get down. Shots fired, get down, active shooter, everything. And I was tone deaf to it. It wasn't very smart on my part, but I was just trying to do my job, which is really to cover the presidents.
Brooklyn's put some photos up there, some of Doug's photos from yesterday on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook live stream. It's incredible how close and how clear those images are, especially the one of the bullet flying near his ear.
There's going to be, I don't know how you're going to pick a Pulitzer Prize winning photograph this next year. There's going to be some remarkable entries. We talked about the courage of Secret Service agents, Lewis. The other people that I think are crazy brave, it's their job, and I guess it's sort of the job of photographers and cameramen, but they're cut from the same cloth. These people, and God bless them, because we get to see things we otherwise would never get to see. But I love them, but I'm not sure they're all right upstairs. Photographers and camera people put themselves in all sorts of extraordinary positions, in dangerous environments, in front of dangerous people, to get amazing shots. And it seems to be just in them. I don't know. It's an instinct. It's remarkable. We saw it dramatically on display yesterday.
Doug Mills from the New York Times there. If you'd like to see more of his work, I'm sure if you just Google it, a heap of photos will pop up, as they all will from yesterday. 8 o'clock news coming up momentarily with Graham and Corey. And we'd love to hear from you this morning, 8223 0000. You can talk about anything you like, or if you'd like to chat more about the events out of Pennsylvania yesterday, we'd love to chat with you.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
The shower 2 and 13 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
The US President is urging the country to stand united against violence in the wake of the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. Joe Biden says the Secret Service is reviewing security at the Republican convention in Milwaukee, where the former president is headed. President Biden has held a meeting with authorities, including the FBI, as it works to establish a motive for the gunman. He maintains the attempt to take Mr. Trump's life needs to be condemned and the nation must unite.
Unity is the most elusive goal of all. But nothing is important than that right now, unity. We'll debate and we'll disagree. That's not going to change. But we're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans.
The FBI have named 20-year-old local man Thomas Matthew Crooks as the alleged gunman. Reports indicate Crooks was enrolled as a Republican for the upcoming election. Questions are being raised regarding the Secret Service's preparation for the rally, as the shooter was able to position himself on the adjacent rooftop in the area. Former FBI field agent Bobby Shakon has told CNN it was a clear oversight in security planning.
When you talk about high ground and a rooftop, that would have been one of the very first things that you should have secured. You put a local officer up there, you put him down at the bottom where the ladder is to go up to that roof. You have somebody that secures that rooftop, and I think that's going to be the main question going forward.
In other news, the federal government is vowing to do whatever it takes to get to the bottom of criminal allegations levelled against the construction union. An investigation by 60 Minutes reveals underworld figures have been acting as CFMEU delegates and receiving thousands of dollars for working on state and federal projects. There are calls for a royal commission into the claims. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has told Today Labor will work to get to the bottom of the issue.
What we've seen in the revelations over the weekend and some of that good work by the journalists involved, I think we've seen some absolutely horrific behaviour, and we will do whatever is necessary to clean it up.
Diabetes Australia wants the federal government to increase subsidies for technology helping monitor diabetes patients. Some patients living with type 1 diabetes are unable to access glucose monitoring devices and insulin pumps because they're too expensive. Chief Executive Justine Cain says a $200 million investment over 4 years would aid those struggling with the cost of living.
If you don't keep your blood glucose levels in range, it can lead to hospitalisations and ambulance call-outs. It can lead to longer-term complications such as blindness, stroke, heart attack, amputations.
Actress Shannon Doherty has died at the age of 53 after a 9-year battle with breast cancer. The actress starred on the popular series Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And good morning, Corey Norris.
Good morning, Graham. England's football heartache continues, losing the Euros final once again. Spain defeated the Three Lions 2-1, the winner coming late in the second half.
Cucurella! 2-1 Spain! Oyarzabal! Prompt! Neat!
That audio thanks to Optus Sport. It's certainly party time in Spain after their young tennis star Carlos Alcaraz dominated Novak Djokovic to defend his crown at Wimbledon. Jordan Tunbridge was courtside.
Dropping his racket and throwing his arms in the air, Carlos Alcaraz celebrates successfully defending his Wimbledon singles title. The third seed from Spain once again defeating second seed Novak Djokovic in the gentlemen's final to claim his fourth Grand Slam. Alcaraz dominated from the outset, breaking Djokovic's serve in the opening game of the match and winning in straight sets 6-2, 6-2, 7-6. He put his opponent under relentless pressure throughout, pushing him deep behind the baseline with heavy topspin, then bringing him into the net with delicate drop shots. A comprehensive victory for the best young player in the world over one of the greatest to step foot on a tennis court.
Back here, Port Adelaide has limped home from its 14-point loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. Forward Todd Marshall will have scans on a hip injury today, thanks to friendly fire from Charlie Dixon. The Power also lost Lockie Jones to concussion after a collision with the Suns' Alex Davies. The Power has slipped out of the top 8 and will take on Richmond here on Saturday night. And the Crows will have a light recovery session this morning ahead of Friday night's clash against Essendon at Marvel Stadium. And that's 5AA Sport.
And now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
A couple of crashes to look out for this morning. One at Prospect, Main North Road at Regency Road. Another one at Salisbury. This is on Smith Road at Main North Road. Slow going at the moment, South Road at Glandore. That's near the Crossroad overpass for work. Speeds at 40. And we're getting busy at Marion Road at Anzac Highway. Got a camera this morning, Peacock Road in the Parklands. The Honda ZR-V and CR-V 23 build stock clearance is on now. Get 8 years warranty and roadside assist, plus Honda genuine floor mats. Hurry while stocks last. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A shower or two 13 today, tomorrow a shower or two 14, Wednesday 15 with a shower or two, and Thursday a possible shower 14. Currently it's just 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. That's the best freedom I know.
Join over 60,000 Adelaide homes and say yes to lowering your energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. Do you know how much that old fridge in the shed is adding to your electricity bill? Your energy saving solutions can collect your old inefficient fridges and freezers for free, and the best part is that you can also get up to $150 per unit. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yess.net.au.
Imagine a learning space that inspires creativity and a connection with nature. Here at Keen Education Furniture, we can make that a reality. With locally sourced furniture, custom prints and finishes to suit your learning place, our education furniture is crafted to perfection. At Keen Education Furniture, we're dedicated to creating exceptional learning spaces. Our furniture is designed to inspire and endure. Let us help you create a learning space that inspires. Keen Education Furniture. Learn happy, get keen.
It's a frightening thought, but what if you lost the capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. FIVEAA.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app.
On DAB Digital Radio
And on 1395 AM.
This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
10 past 8 this Monday morning. Good morning to you. David will be back next week. But it's been a pretty big morning for the news cycle here in Australia. Over in America, the Milwaukee Republican Convention is getting underway tomorrow, their time Monday. But Donald Trump is nearly at the convention, or nearly arriving in Milwaukee from New Jersey, was where he was whisked from. But we'd love to hear from you this morning, 8223 0000, or on the Duttons text line 0448 08 1395.
The US President's going to conduct another press conference. That'll be 2 in a day. It's going to happen at 9:30 Adelaide time from the Oval Office. He's already announced earlier today increased security for the Republican National Convention and the fact there'll be an inquiry into the conduct of the Secret Service in Butler, Pennsylvania yesterday, primarily the question being, in a place where there are so few vantage points, how is it possible that someone got to within 150 feet of a presidential candidate and no one had eyes on them? No one saw them. In fact, a member of the public saw them, and then that wasn't even acted on, as we heard in our program about an hour ago from that person. So that all being the case, and that review underway, I'm intrigued as to know what we're going to learn in an hour and a half. You'll hear it, of course, here on 5AA as that information comes to hand. I wonder if we might learn some more about the motivation of Thomas Matthew Crooks, the shooter, now deceased, which, as we spoke with David Warwood earlier, that information's been really tightly held. Maybe deliberately, maybe there's not much known. But generally speaking, and unfortunately we've covered too many of these on 5AA Breakfast, just shootings, not assassination attempts, but shootings in the US. And the from incident to the reveal of motivation is generally not that long. Largely in part because these days people post all their thoughts online, they've written a manifesto, or it's pretty clear what their affiliations and motivations are. That may be the case here, but in any case, that's all being tightly held. But maybe we'll learn more at 9:30, and maybe there'll be something else that comes out then. But you'll hear it here on 5AA. Now, yesterday, as we were talking about this at 5AA, you were here working in the newsroom. I was preparing to call a game of footy. Luce, you mentioned to me that you'd been making some calls to people that were on the ground in Butler, Pennsylvania. People that had turned up on the day expecting to be watching a rally, to be reporting on a rally. One of those was a journalist you were chatting with, and you made the excellent decision to record that conversation to give our listeners here in Adelaide a sense of what it was like, not today when everyone's had 24 hours distance to collect their thoughts, but in the immediate aftermath of what transpired.
Yes, Jacob Rosen from CBS. I spoke to him exactly 3 hours after the attack had happened. He was standing in a deserted rally area in Butler, Pennsylvania. He's a young political journalist based in Washington, D.C. for CBS, but has been on the campaign trail for the better part of a year following the Trump campaign. And I managed to quickly grab him yesterday in amongst all his TV hits and radio hits and TV updates. I spoke with Jacob yesterday.
Yeah, so I covered Donald Trump for a living. I've done it for about a year now. That involves bringing a camera with me, doing hits like this with radio teams around the country, TV hits with my CBS News team here in the States, and I go to Trump rallies and cover political events, mostly Republican aligned. And I've done a little bit of this coverage before, back during COVID in 2019 and 2020 and 2021, and then did a different job for a little bit, and I've been doing this for about a year now.
Where were you positioned for the rally? Like, I understand there was heaps of press. Were all the press grouped together, or were you all dotted out in amongst the crowd?
Yeah, so the way that it works at these rallies is we're about 100 feet away from, maybe a little bit more than that, but 100 feet away from where Donald Trump speaks. It's the same setup camera-wise at almost every event. And then where that camera is set up, there's a pen using bicycle gates, and they're basically to block the crowd from us and to keep Trump safe and to keep us safe and to keep the crowd safe. And given the wild and furious kind of going up into this vice presidential speculation, we were here with a bunch of my CBS News colleagues, camera crew, security, just in case something did happen on that front, and that's obviously not what happened today. But there were hundreds of us press kind of all stacked together, which, caused some chaos, obviously, when the shots rang out.
I was just about to ask, what was that immediate reaction? Because in the footage that we've seen over here, everyone ducked. No one ran. Obviously, you didn't know where the shots were coming from. But was that what happened with the wider crowd? Everyone ducked and then panicked? Or what happened?
I think given the July 4th holiday here where people are lighting off fireworks, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like someone lit off a firework right behind the former president to the left. If you're looking at him on the camera, on your phone, or however you would watch the rally, it looked like it was coming from his left. You could hear it, but it did not sound like gunshots. Maybe I'm naive. I know I live in America where there's gun crimes all the time, and I do hear it in my neighborhood of Washington, D.C. when I'm home, but this is just an unprecedented moment. The crowd at these rallies is so stacked in. There were thousands of people here. We were passing out crates of water to them. There were a lot of people who had passed out. It was 90-plus degrees, no shade. The press had a little bit, but the crowd here did not. So what they were doing was just waiting all day from around 10, 11 a.m. when I got there today until 5 p.m. 6 p.m. almost when Trump took the stage. And so, there was the gunshots rang out. A colleague grabbed me. I just froze. I saw a hydraulics lift that lifts up some of the speakers got hit, and I saw the smoke come from it. When the hydraulic gets popped, it's like a tire popping, right? A loud noise and a lot of smoke.
Wow.
And so I remember hearing that, and then I see Secret Service. Trump's not, when I look back up at the stage, Trump's not there. He's been, protected by Secret Service. And then he throws a fist in the air as defiant as ever today, and the crowd put their fists back up to him, but no one knew what happened. Maybe there was gunshots, maybe someone threw something, a firework hit it, right? Like, I think just given the crowd and the noise, and there's music for hours leading up to this, it's a tangible excitement at all these Trump events. And then only when, there was, a gunshot that hit someone in the crowd, you can hear the shrieking in some of the social media videos. And after the shrieks continued and people realized what was going on, honestly, maybe 30 seconds to a minute later, I think it did really take that long, is when we all realized what had happened. Yeah.
So it's been nearly 3.5 hours. When I'm talking to you now, it's been nearly 3.5 hours since the shooting. What has happened in that 3.5 hours? Obviously, they had to get the former president out of there first, but how long did it take to evacuate everyone? They shut the rally site down, or obviously it's just been deserted now. What's it look like?
So I'm still here with a couple other media teams finishing up live hits. Just making sure that we're here when the rest of our teams get here overnight and into the morning. They took the former president to a local hospital. He has since departed the hospital. We are not sure where he's going next. We're working on reporting that out right now. Obviously, Monday is supposed to be the start of the Republican National Convention, where Trump would pick a running mate, and 4 days of excitement going into the last 4 months less of the presidential cycle here in America. But, right now it was, there were water bottles, food, strollers, carts that older people used to get around, strewn everywhere, people's hats, belongings, MAGA hats, signs, strewn everywhere. People were crying and hugging each other. People were still sitting in the grass, shocked. That's really what I remember of seeing. It's been a little hard to go back and look at some of the pictures I've taken, so I'm sure I'll do that between now and when this airs. But, it's just not something that you expect. You go through rounds of security to get to these things. I have to show my press pass and credential to get in. They give you a credential. The campaign doesn't just approve every media outlet to go to these. And, you're supposed to feel protected. The United States Secret Service that protects the president and former president, every former president, and every big rally and event site in America, even the Super Bowl, World Series, things like that, World Cup when it's coming here, right? These are events that are supposed to be protected by these agencies, and today it was not.
You spoke to a witness who was an emergency worker, an off-duty emergency worker, I should say, who someone quite close to him got hit with a bullet, shall I say, or a pellet. We're not really sure what it was. But you spoke to that gentleman. How did that go?
I saw this man talking to another reporter, and just knowing the scene and the chaos, I just looked at him and waved him over, and we locked eyes, and he walked over, and I just got 45 seconds of sound. But I just asked him how he was doing and what he saw. He was an off-duty emergency room doctor. So here in America, you think he's probably seen some gunshot wounds before, even accidental or on purpose. He said that the person was shot in the head. He got called over when everyone yelled, "Oh my God, someone was hit, someone was hit, someone was shot." Obviously, just like we do in those situations, you spring into action, and he did too. He said he tried to do CPR on the person and save their life, but that there was brain matter and blood everywhere on that person, and then eventually they were taken away. But yeah, that's the man was very shaken. I spoke to another witness who was just sitting there staring at the stage where Trump should have been speaking, and he seemed like in shock too. He had tears running down his eyes. And I just want to reiterate this for your audience, but I know, there's a lot that goes on around what Trump supporters are like in America. But at these rallies, the day-to-day rallies, people who go to them, it's a lot of people bring their families, a lot of people bring their kids. I spoke to people who were, 80, 90 years old at this rally who saw people get shot. There were people who watch people get shot today. It is usually a family-friendly environment, despite the former president's language at times. It is usually an environment where people bring their family and their friends to go see Donald Trump. He's a big attraction. That's just the reality of it. I go to many of these many times a week. It's just as much an attraction for the media as it is people. And coming to a small town here in Butler, about an hour north of Pittsburgh, Donald Trump doesn't come here often. And so when you get a chance to go see him, you go see him. And, I think for a lot of these people, it was their first time, and they're just shaken.
It's a great interview, Luce, that recorded yesterday in the immediate aftermath. So you can hear in that talking about, even at that point it wasn't confirmed whether they were bullets, what the caliber was. You can hear it all, the uncertainty and so forth. I think it's a great record of what transpired on a historic day, recorded immediately after it happened. It was a terrific interview. Great insight too, hearing an American talk to an Australian audience about these sorts of rallies. They look so foreign to us. We've got the same system by and large. Western democracy, freedom, we elect our leaders of our own volition at the ballot box, yet the way in which Americans engage with their politicians is different. They have these family-style events that people are going to, and that was interesting background to the sort of day ahead. A few Dutton's texts have come through over the course of that of the morning. Andrew from Rosedale says the shooter was taken out by Secret Service anti-snipers, but they didn't see the shooter until after the shots were fired. It's a little sus, almost like they let it happen. I've seen that's a really common conspiracy theory that's going around at the moment, because there is reverse angle vision of how quickly those snipers reacted. The best insight I read was from someone who was a former military sniper online who said, people are going to hate me for saying this, but I actually think the way they conduct themselves was entirely appropriately, and I would have done the same thing. He said, you're not in Syria or Afghanistan, so your immediate assumption is not everyone is carrying a weapon. These guys turn up to these things all the time. Because one of the snipers was criticised for taking his eye away from the sight and double-checking before shooting. And people said, well, okay, was that by design? What's going on there? And this guy said, you're in a residential area, in a place where you're not expecting violence. You don't want to get that decision wrong because you're going to kill someone. And he said, as someone who's been in those situations in a combat environment, I actually think what they did was right, and the punditry around there being a delay was wrong. Now, I don't know, that guy's right. But that's why we've got an inquiry that the US president announced just a couple of hours ago during our program that's going to answer those sorts of questions.
We're going to cross over to Butler, Pennsylvania after the 8:30 news to a woman who was there at the time. But first, let's check your traffic.
Thanks, Lucy. At Prospect, a crash to look out for. Regency Road near Main North Road. Another collision at Salisbury, Main North Road at Smith Road. Car rollover at Northfield, Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. And we're slow for works at Morfordville, Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, speeds at 40 k's. Cameras, Takeda Terrace, Kent Town and May Terrace at Brooklyn Park. The Peter Jackson half-year sale is on now. Australian merino wool suits from $399. Pure wool coats from $299. 50% off store-wide. Look your best with the Peter Jackson half-year sale. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Since Freshfront have been in business, they've collected 541 Google reviews. 524 are 5-star, 15 are 4-star, and 2 1-star. One of which was fake, and the other, well, that was me. However, I'm revoking my 1-star and submitting 5 stars. Freshfront are experts in exterior home cleaning and a wee bit of conflict resolution. Get a free, no-obligation quote. Freshfront.com.au.
Have you seen the stunning new sign at NRG Solar's relocated office in St Mary's? It's not just a sign, it's a beacon of sustainability. As leaders in solar solutions, NRG Solar's commitment to innovation shines bright. Their new warehouse is fully stocked with a stunning range of wholesale solar and battery equipment. See it for yourself, 1275 South Road St Mary's, or visit nrgsolar.com.au for a sustainable future. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
5 years. That's around 1,300 cycles in the dishwasher, 1,825 cups of coffee, and 3,650 pieces of toast. 5 years is also the length of the warranty on selected Smeg appliances at Adelaide Appliance Gallery. Get in quick though, because this offer is only available from the 1st of July till the 31st of July. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, head to promotions.smeg.com.au. Adelaide Appliance Gallery, Paynham Road, St Peters.
The 5AA studios, bit like a playground, certainly during footy season when those disgusting, uncouth football commentary teams are in here. And like most playgrounds, they get a little messy. Fortunately, Corporate Clean ensures they're always ready for another day of play. 5AA, one of over 200 businesses they clean throughout South Australia.
An unclean workplace leads to more absences and less productivity. Studies on bacteria have revealed that desktops can be just as unsanitary as toilets. Not in offices, though. Cleaned by Corporate Clean. They don't cut corners, they clean them.
Corporate Clean are a locally owned business with over 30 years of experience cleaning all types of office settings. There's no one better suited for the job. For a free quote and assessment, go to corporateclean.com.au.
Head south as the all-new GWM Cannon Alpha has arrived at Southgate GWM Ranella. Larger, smarter and gutsier than ever. Australia's first ever full hybrid ute with a combined 255 kilowatts and 648 newton metres. Also available in a turbo diesel engine with 135 kilowatts and 480 newton metres. All with 3,500 kilo brake towing capacity. Head down to Southgate GWM, 49 Main South Road, Ranella.
Know the news with Adelaide's 7 News. Don't miss Adelaide's leading news hour tonight at 6 o'clock.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
We mentioned earlier, Will, that despite it being the biggest news in the world yesterday, the news here does continue on. And yesterday, a story that hasn't been heavily focused on, but perhaps it should be, more violence at a shopping centre. This time it was at Manopara. To tell us more, Hayden Nelson from 7 News joins us. Hello, Hayden.
Good morning, Lucy. Good morning, Will.
Please tell us about what happened yesterday. An old man was just randomly attacked, is that right?
Yeah, we understand. Witnesses say this was an unprovoked attack which happened at the Manopara shopping centre last week. We've drawn our attention to it because it was posted on social media sort of glorifying it. Unfortunately, it was a one-punch attack. There was a group of youths where we understand a suspect as young as 15 years old has thrown a punch which has knocked this man to the ground. He then tried to get up and he sort of used a scooter which was on the ground next to him to try and defend himself. It's sort of like a pub fight in a movie scene where every object is a weapon, because then it's understood that one of the youths has then used a shopping trolley to try and ram this guy over, but he is incredibly okay. Police were called to the scene to speak to the man, but by the time they arrived, we understand the suspects had fled, so they're looking for these teenagers, or particularly this 15-year-old boy at the moment, and are hoping to make an arrest.
So they tracked who they think the suspect is based off this video on social media and found him via that way, but haven't got him yet?
Yeah, that's basically it, guys. I mean, the video, if you do get to see it, it was an exclusive video on our news last night. It's just chaos. And basically there's at least a dozen people involved, so you can imagine they have a pretty good idea of who this suspect is. But this is just another sort of sickening sort of youth crime case in Adelaide. We do see them sort of happening interstate. I mean, it's the defining factor in the Queensland election right now, and I don't think we're immune to it here, and particularly when these things are being posted up on social media just as they are, it's quite frightening to see.
Yeah, thank you, Hayden. Hayden Nelson for Sunrise and 7 News here in Adelaide. I'm just thinking, we had that interview earlier last week about the city being declared a public precinct, a declared precinct, which allowed police to have greater powers, and there's been an incredible response to that in terms of how safe people who work in the shops and the retail districts of the city have felt. When that was first declared, we got a stack of texts from our listeners saying, this just pushes the problem to the suburbs. Now, I don't know whether this has been pushed to the suburbs or this is organic to this part of Adelaide, and the people responsible, the person responsible here always goes there. I don't know. But it kind of, this whole declared public precinct feels like that old joke about the black box on an aircraft, where people say, why don't you just make the whole aircraft out of what you make the black box out of? Because it always survives. Maybe everywhere needs the same level of scrutiny that the public precinct is getting. Now, I get we don't live in an ideal world with an infinite amount of police resources, but maybe as a society we should be doing more to fund police, increase numbers by financial incentive or workplace incentive, or doing more, because increased presence works. We've got a live action experiment that's happening in Adelaide right now, and in the city it's working. Retailers tell us it's working. The police numbers tell us it's working. Let's maybe apply that a little bit more broadly, or at least find a way to do that. Let's show a little bit of enthusiasm about supporting the police to do the good work they're doing in the city in more places than just the city, because more need it. Random people getting bashed going to do their shopping, it's not good enough.
8:30 News up next. Afterwards, we're heading over to Butler, Pennsylvania.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
A shower at 2 and 13 today with the 8:30 News. I'm Graham Goodings.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Police and Secret Service officials in the US are assuring the public they're ready for anything as Republicans gather for the party's national convention. Donald Trump is attending the event in Milwaukee despite an attempt on his life at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman says planning security measures for the convention began 18 months ago.
This is a national special security event. Can't get any higher than that in regards to that particular type of designation. And so I just want to reassure not only our community, the greater community, those involved at the convention, but also in our city. We got this.
Police are investigating an incident at Mawson Lakes overnight. They were called to an address just before midnight where a person had been critically injured. They died later in hospital. The circumstances are being investigated. The federal government's being asked to make access to life-changing diabetes treatments more affordable. Around 2 million Australians are living with the condition, putting them at risk of stroke, heart attack and kidney disease. Diabetes Australia wants Labor to increase subsidies for continuous glucose monitoring devices and insulin pumps. Australians will be able to catch a glimpse of the King and Queen, who are scheduled to visit in October. Health concerns have previously prevented Charles and Camilla from making the trip, but they have since been cleared. The pair will stop in on their way to a Commonwealth Leaders meeting in Samoa. Royal Editor Chris Shipp says the itinerary is yet to be finalised.
We don't know what they're doing, we just know that they're going to tie it in. There's this Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit in Samoa, so while you're over that side of the world, why not pop into Australia as well? But New Zealand was considered one step too far, but you get to see them, so hello King and Queen.
Wine exports to China are back on track, reaching levels not seen since 2019. Tariffs imposed on Australian wine were lifted in March. Nearly 10 million litres of bottled wines was exported during May, valued at $142 million. Medical experts want better guidelines for infant formula and toddler drinks. The Australian Medical Association has made recommendations to the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, saying Australia needs marketing codes of practice for breast milk substitutes. President Professor Steve Robson says they want the code to mirror that of the World Health Organization.
The World Health Organization code has guidelines that protect children out to 3 years old, and we know how important it is because what children want to eat and drink is set very early in life.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Experience the 2024 new-gen Mitsubishi Triton with 10 years warranty and servicing. Test drive at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And here's Corey Norris.
Good morning, Graham. England's wait for another major football trophy will continue. The Three Lions have been beaten by Spain in the final of the Euros in Berlin, 2-1. The winner coming late in the second half.
Cucurella! 2-1 Spain! Oya Tharbal! Prompt! Neat! Telling!
That audio thanks to Optus Sport. It's certainly party time in Spain after their young tennis star Carlos Alcaraz dominated Novak Djokovic to defend his crown at Wimbledon. The 21-year-old becomes the youngest man to win Wimbledon and the French Open in the same year. He says winning the grass court Grand Slam for the second time is a dream come true.
An interview when I was 12 or 11 years old, I said that my dream is to win Wimbledon. So I'm repeating, my dream. I want you to keep going.
Back here, Port Adelaide has limped home from its 14-point loss to the Suns on the Gold Coast. Forward Todd Marshall will have scans on a hip injury today thanks to friendly fire from Charlie Dixon. The Power also lost Lockie Jones to concussion after a collision with the Suns' Alex Davies. The Power has slipped out of the top 8 with their finals hopes on the brink. In the final games of round 18, Brisbane defeated West Coast by 13 points at Optus Stadium and the Giants made light work of Richmond at the MCG. And heartbreak for Aussie golfer Adam Scott, falling just one shot short at the Scottish Open, finishing second to Robert McIntyre. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Speak to the Adelaide Convention Centre and let them elevate your vision for your next event or function.
At Northfield, clean-up underway from nearly a car rollover, Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Happy Valley, urgent sewer works, Chandler's Hill Road near Glenloth Drive. Works to look out for at Morfordville, Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, and busy at the moment South Road at Edwardstown. Cameras at Delphi Terrace, Glenorg North and Rope Terrace at North Adelaide. Flight Sitter has your next family vacay sorted with a 7-night Fiji stay at the 5-star Shangri-La from just $750 per person. Book with Flight Centre today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Plenty of showers about, a shower or 2 and 13 today. Tomorrow a shower or 2, 14. Wednesday 15 with a shower or 2. And Thursday a possible shower, 14. Currently it's 8. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The critical part of any healthcare is the care. It's about being by your side when you and your loved ones need us most. Through late night fevers, through the rough and tumble of weekend sports, through weird rashes, mystery aches, and knowing in your heart that something's not quite right. From surgery to rehabilitation, through emergencies, mental illness, chronic diseases, and for better health. Your doctor cares. Let's take care of them too. Authorised by Dr. David Pope, Samoa, Adelaide.
The biggest threat to your business isn't your competition. It's cybercrime. Cybercrime threats impacting Australian businesses large and small continues to grow year on year. One call to one solution will put your business in a safe place and save you from the devastating consequences of cybercrime. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Stay safe and protected. Get in touch with One Solution. onesolution.net.au, a Platinum Telstra partner.
If you love your home, but you've never been in love with your kitchen, well, the answer is not far away.
It's just 15 minutes up the freeway, actually. That's where you'll find Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It boasts the largest kitchen design showroom in the Adelaide Hills, and it's a family business with 35 years of experience, so they care about taking care of you.
And their expertise goes further than just kitchens. They can create laundries, linen cupboards, robes and vanities, plus all cabinet installations are backed by a 10-year warranty.
Balhanna Kitchens by Design. It's not too far to go to make your dream kitchen a reality. See more at balhannakitchens.com.au.
Selected Austrac campers come fully installed with diesel heaters, so you can camp all year round. If the boss will let you.
I heard that.
Love you.
Austrac campers.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
Some extraordinary reporting out of the weekend that we've been covering on 5AA News with regard to the CFMEU in Australia. It started with the shock resignation of John Setka. We knew he wouldn't stand for re-election, but the timing was odd, and he alluded to some reporting, but wasn't specific. That reporting came in the next few days over the weekend, and ending last night with a 60 Minutes report that showed that there was some favours being done and some employment arrangements between organised crime and bikie gangs and the CFMEU, a degree of cooperation that shocked Australians, led the Employment Minister, Tony Burke, to ask for some advice with regard to what powers he has to control the CFMEU or sanction them in some way. Now, he wasn't sure what he could do, but was moved enough by the reporting to say something urgently needed to be done. We reported early this morning, Luce, that the CFMEU were conducting an emergency meeting today. The outcome of that has just been made clear. They've released a statement where, as a meeting of the National Executive of the CFMEU, a decision has been taken that the Victorian branch will be placed into administration. The National Office will assume all senior executive powers. Now, you remember, the Victorian branch took over the South Australian branch. So this is going to have big ramifications for South Australia. National Secretary Zack Smith said he would use the new powers to immediately establish an independent process overseen by a leading legal figure to investigate any credible allegations of wrongdoing. So that's a massive story that's breaking as we speak. We're going to chat with Will Frogley from the Master Builders Association. He's had his own run-ins with the CFMEU here in South Australia when the leadership changed, has warned about what their influence in South Australia is going to mean about building projects going forward. He'll be particularly interested in these accusations of criminality and cooperation between the union and motorcycle gangs, I suspect. So we'll talk to him about that breaking and developing story very, very soon. We're going to head back to Butler, Pennsylvania now. Erin, our next guest, was at the rally where an assassination attempt was made on former US President Donald Trump. If you haven't caught up with the vision or the audio, here it is as it played out at about this time yesterday.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Those shots, as we learnt in the aftermath, not fireworks, not a pop gun, but rather something more deadly and something that would ultimately prove fatal for at least one member of the crowd there, a 50-year-old who jumped on his family to protect them. There was two other people that were shot in a critical condition in hospital. One who was shot but not wounded seriously nor fatally was Donald Trump. It's one of the most extraordinary political moments in modern political history. A lot of people this morning have spoken about the conduct of the Secret Service and have said they should have been ready for something like this, should have been prepared. Easy to say. I mean, we have to go back to 1981 to an attempt on Ronald Reagan. The last time we had an assassination attempt like this. I mean, before that it was more recent. Gerald Ford in 1975. We've had a situation here in Australia dating back in the 21st of June 1966 where the Labor opposition leader Arthur Caldwell was shot at by a man, Peter Kochen, at an anti-conscription rally in Mosman Town Hall in Sydney. But it's been a long time since we've seen something like this. It's a huge story, and it comes in the context of a particularly divisive presidential campaign in the United States that'll ultimately resolve itself in November. Erin, good morning to you, Australian time. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been about 24 hours now, but we want to take you back to that moment we just played, the immediate aftermath. What were your thoughts? How quickly were you aware of what had taken place, and where were you in relation to Donald Trump and the stage?
I was in the first row, and I was directly across from President Trump. There was nobody between me and him. I was the first one in this. So I was watching him. I heard the pop, pop, pop. I saw him crouch down. I saw the Secret Service, 4 come around him, push him down to the ground. The photographers that were off to his right, there was like 5 of them. They were all pushed down like in a pile. Everybody was down. But we didn't know what happened. Most of us thought it was fireworks. Then the guys with the big long guns came up on the stage and around the front, and they said, clear right, clear left, okay, lift him. So they lifted Trump up. He's looking directly at me. I saw the blood on his cheek, and Trump said, I want to get my shoes. Obviously, when they pushed him to the ground, his shoes had fallen off. took care of that. They turned him to the right, and that's when I saw the blood from the top of his ear all the way down. But I'm still thinking, oh, when they pushed him to the ground, they must have hurt him. I didn't think he was hit. They took him down the steps, but then he put his right hand up to the sky and screamed out to the crowd, "Fight, fight, fight." The Secret Service were pushing him down the steps. He was resisting. He didn't want to leave that stage. They pushed him down the steps. They put him in the car. Now, no one really knows what's going on because it was a big arena. Then people started to come out, and behind me I saw the senator who's running in Pennsylvania come behind me. Then I saw the gentleman who I know with a white shirt with blood all the way down the right-hand side of him. And I thought, oh, my goodness, he wasn't shot because he was walking correctly, but he was next to somebody who was shot and tried to put his body around them. The interesting thing, none of us got up and ran like it was a normal gun event. Everyone stayed right in their place. Our concern was President Trump. No one had one iota concern for their own life.
So you weren't...
It was amazing.
You weren't scared for your own safety?
Never. Never. I don't know why. I don't know what took over me. I was not scared.
Are you from...
And the interesting thing, the people... I'm from Pittsburgh, yes. The interesting thing, the people that were shot were all to the left of President Trump on risers, like bleachers.
Yeah.
There was no paramedics or anybody that went up there. Everyone that was hurt was carried down by people that were sitting around them, down underneath the bleacher to the ambulance. I mean, that's how this crowd handled this. They took care of everybody like themselves. Nobody was running out. Well, my husband said to me, he wasn't there. When I got home, he said, didn't anybody push you or shove you? I said, nope, not a person. Everybody was, when we did march out, everybody was in a nice, an easy exit. We were all in shock.
So at the end,
we
at
were
the
in
end of an
shock
event
for
like
President
that,
Trump.
At the end of that, Erin, that Donald Trump's been ushered into a bulletproof vehicle and he's left the scene. What happens to the crowd? Are people milling around? Are people being directed to leave by police and Secret Service? What happens?
They had to be directed because people didn't really want to leave on their own. I think they wanted to share their thoughts maybe. It's a little bit of a, I don't want to say it, you're in shock and you're relieved. He did make us feel relieved when he did put the hand up. And I could tell that his white shirt had no blood on it. His suit didn't have any blood. The little bit on the face and the ear. And I thought, they could have just been hurt. Maybe he was not... I did not think he was shot. I don't know what other people thought. I did not think Trump was shot. Because I couldn't imagine going through a little piece of the ear, till everything came out. But then I called my husband on the phone, and he had it on the TV, and he said, oh, no. The blood was on his ear before the Secret Service put him to the ground. The TV could actually show this a little bit closer to his ear than I could.
This
so
is
I
obviously,
said, well, that's when I knew that he was...
This is obviously shocking, Erin, and in recent political history, we thankfully haven't seen violence like this. That said, there have been people that have been concerned that given how hostile and divisive the nature of the debate has been in the United States, that there was the potential for violence. Have you felt that way during this presidential cycle?
You can feel it in the air that there's tension. But where this took place in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is a farm community, which has this farm show where, last year I was there and they milk the cows and you make milkshakes. You didn't think it would happen there. Maybe if it was closer to a city, where there is random shootings every day. Not in this place where it was. That's what I think was... If you could have gone anywhere safer in Pittsburgh, there was probably nowhere safer you could have been that day. And for that to happen there shocked people. But I wanted to add, I had a reminiscent in when President Kennedy was shot. I was in the second grade in a Catholic elementary school in Pittsburgh. The whole school had to be on their knees praying for the president.
A lot of our listeners have said it reminds them of that day in 1963 as well. We've had a lot of memories of hearing about that here in Australia as well today. Does an event like this, will you think twice about going to a political rally again in your life now?
No. I think that's what Trump was trying to tell us. We can't be afraid. We have to march on. We have to go forward. We can't let radicals or whatever. I mean, I heard what you were saying beforehand, that, you know, there was evidently a slippage, and of course now the conspiracy theories are all going to come out. The gentleman was way too close to Trump, was way too close on that roof. There was a party going on behind. The roof that he was on was not in the fenced parameter of the park. It was a building outside of the park. There's homes around there. So this gentleman that was interviewed, they were at a party in the house. They knew Trump was going to speak, so when they could hear the loudspeaker with his voice, they started to walk towards the tree line from this house. They saw the guy climbing on the roof. This gentleman says he's pointing to the police and the fire and saying, roof, gun, roof, gun. But it didn't seem like anybody was taking action. And he was saying, why is Trump still speaking when a gunman is climbing up on a roof? So, I don't, you know, there's a lot to be meshed out because nothing else was around. I mean, there's no buildings around. It's just trees and farmland. You know what I mean? It's not like it could be distracted. That was the only building, that roof.
Yeah,
it must have been a clear shot.
That part needs urgent
investigation. That part is very shaky right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
That is very... Now, the guy behind me, 2 seats over to the right, he saw Trump's sharpshooter. There was 2 of them behind him on the stage. There was a little auxiliary roof there. He saw that sharpshooter shoot that gun that killed him. But there's some speculation that the other sharpshooter had him in his sights, didn't know if he was waiting for like a command, perhaps, you know? Like I have somebody in my sights that's on a roof, can I shoot? We don't know that. I'm just saying this is stuff that all was going on outside, you know, once people didn't want to go home. I think they wanted to share, the people that had some experience close to somebody that was shot, or like me, I was right up there. I mean, hearing Trump say, I want to get my shoes on. Like, what?
Yeah, it's amazing how people react in that moment. Erin, thank you. We appreciate that insight. No one you're going to hear from in Australia today was closer than Erin Ottenreith, who was in the front row. No one between her and Donald Trump when it took place. Thank you so much for talking to us here in Adelaide, Australia this morning. We're going to take a break. We'll check traffic first, and we'll just end the program this morning with some thoughts on the breaking CFMEU story that is going to have ramifications for the building industry here in South Australia.
Will Frogley from the Master Builders Association will join us, but first, here's your traffic.
Thanks, Lucy. Happy Valley. Urgent sewer works this morning. Chandler's Hill Road near Glenloth Drive. At Northfield, clean-up underway from an earlier car rollover on Hampstead Road near Grand Junction Road. Slow for works at Morfordville, Morford Road near Maxwell Terrace, and busy at Brighton for works, Brighton Road near Gregory Street, just near the Foodland there. Cameras at Crossroad Highgates and May Terrace at Brooklyn Park. Drive away the new MY23 MG3 from just $18,990 plus a 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty at Hamilton MG, Brighton and Ranella. T's and C's apply. LVD 3600. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Transform your outdoor space and turn it into a great year-round entertainment area with an opening and closing roof from Louver House. A Louver House roof will let in the perfect combination of airflow and sunlight, so you can entertain no matter the weather. Best of all, they're manufactured right here in SA with rain sensors and options like LED lighting. Find out more with a free design measure and quote. See the light with Louver House. louverhouse.com.au.
When your emergency can't wait, neither should you. At Calvary Adelaide's Emergency Department, you'll experience shorter wait times before receiving personalised care from experienced specialists. With Adelaide's only 24-hour private emergency department, Calvary provides emergency care at any time with no time spared. For fast, specialist private emergency care, get care 24/7 at the Calvary Adelaide Emergency Department, 120 Angus Street, Adelaide.
It all started with a pen and paper 35 years ago. Lots of ideas and a ton of innovation. Nothing's changed. Beechwood Homes is still building stunning bespoke homes right across South Australia. Under construction right now is another Beechwood Homes masterpiece at Blackwood Park. This new display home will showcase Beechwood's dedication to cutting-edge design, craftsmanship and innovation. If you can dream it, Beechwood Homes can build it. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
G'day folks, this is Darren Coggan and I am thrilled to be joining the incredible Deborah Conway on stage in a beautiful new production that celebrates friendship and the timeless songs of two of the finest singer-songwriters of our time, Carole King and James Taylor. It's going to be a spectacular evening, folks. Tickets are on sale now. Don't miss out.
The music of Carole King and James Taylor. Adelaide Festival Theatre, 24th of July.
You can do just about anything online. Shop, meet new friends, watch reruns of your favourite TV shows or movies. But there's one thing you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Visit your local Hyundai dealer for offers on a range of models. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
5AA Winter Breakfast. Will Goodings and Lucy Lokan.
We're about to round out the breakfast show, and Matthew Pantelis is back this week on your morning's show, but we just want to quickly squeeze in few minutes with Will Frogley, the CEO of the Masters Builders Association.
Been a big 3 days and it been a big last 30 minutes for the CFMEU. It started with John Setker's shock resignation on Friday. Have a listen.
I know it's all about trying to just get me. My job is to protect the union, this great union. I mean, its members, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm hoping by me stepping down a bit earlier, hopefully it'll stop the barrage and all the false accusations and all the false stories about this great union, and my job is to protect the members and to protect this union.
He put that out on Friday because he knew that Channel 9 was airing a 60-minute special last night.
Yeah, absolutely. In 9 newspapers over the weekend, they made the accusation that the CFMEU, the Victorian branch of the CFMEU, had criminals and bikie gang members that were given high-paid jobs on government-funded projects. There was a degree of cooperation going on between the union and indeed organised crime. Now, that's led to this morning is an emergency meeting of the National CFMEU at which the National Executive, the National Secretary, Zach Smith, has declared that the Victorian branch has now been placed into administration. The National Office will take over their affairs. Will Frogley's the CEO of the Master Builders Association here in South Australia, who's had a lot of dealings with the CFMEU here in SA. Will, good morning to you. Now, obviously, the Victorian branch took over the South Australian branch. Is it your understanding that by extension now that the South Australian branch has been effectively nationalised as a result of this?
Good morning, Will. And yes, it would have to be, because the same people who've been running the South Australian branch have run the Victorian branch. You know, the State Secretary, John Setker, lived in Melbourne. The President lived in Melbourne. It's the same people pulling the strings. And look, whilst last night might have been shocking to people outside our industry, the reality is, for us in the industry, a lot of us have to live that reality every day, and it's not pleasant. We know there's ongoing coercion and bullying employed by the CFMEU to accept conditions, including who they can and can't hire. You know, you have to be a union member to go on site a lot of times in Adelaide now. And what I really hate as a proud South Australian, Will, is that there's intense pressure to use CFMEU preferred subcontractors, so whatever that might be. And if there's an option to use someone with a head office in Melbourne, that seems to be happening all the time now, and that's just money leaving our great state, and that really infuriates me.
Our Transport Infrastructure Minister, Tom Koutsantonis, took to Twitter last night following the 60 Minutes investigation and said no contractors or subcontractors operating on any of South Australia's infrastructure projects can have any connection to organised crime or bikie gangs. Do you have any suspicion that we have projects going on in this state right now that have the sorts of links that were alleged to exist by 60 Minutes last night in Victoria?
Well, there's no evidence of bikie gangs infiltrating the union locally or acting as delegates. But again, the same people who have been running Victoria run South Australia. So it'd be pretty naive to think they've got a substantially different approach down here. And you have to remember they booted out the local South Australian CFMEU leaders because they were too weak, apparently. They called them weak. I won't say the word, but it starts with a C and ends with S. I think, they think respect for the law is weak, obviously.
The Federal Minister, Tony Burke, for Employment, has sought to determine exactly what his powers are to deal with the union. What's your message to either the state or federal government in terms of what role they should play in terms of what happens next with the CFMEU?
Yeah, well, quite clearly you've got a rogue union here, and there's a lot of good unions out there who act professionally and respectfully, but the CFMEU is definitely not one of them. There's ample evidence that they're rogue and out of control. They've got complete disregard for the law. So, I mean, federally, really, they need to have a good look at deregistering the construction arm of the CFMEU. At the very least, they need to bring back the Australian Building Construction Commission, which was the watchdog. And at a state level, you know, I'd really like to see them look into this Victorian Worker Entitlement Fund that John Seck is still on the board of, that gave the CFMEU Victoria $20 million last year, and South Australian employers are under intense pressure to pay into. I don't want money paid by South Australians here on our big projects to go to fund an organisation that behaved in a way we saw on 60 Minutes last night. That's completely unacceptable.
Will Frogley, thank you. Will Frogley, the CEO of the Master Builders here in South Australia, representing the industry side of this debate. Of course, the unions need to be heard from, and so too do governments with regard to their response, but you'll hear that all across the day on 5AA. Luce, it's going to be a big story.
Yes, Matthew Pantelis is up after 9 o'clock. Stacey Lee back from 1:30 as well today, but up next, 9 o'clock news, and Will and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Coming up on 5